Hello guys and welcome to our live watch along of Katie Taylor versus Karen Carabajal. Now I'm hyped up. Me and Ray have just been on for the last few minutes, obviously off camera, and the Romford Bull, what a place to start, Ray. I mean, you missed it with a few technical issues. You've been deprived, my friend. That was incredible. First round stoppage for the Romford Bull. I'm going to give it to you, Ray, because I just need to calm down, have a little moment of it's going to get out of hand quickly.
Go have a lie down, Josh. You need to cool down, fella. The look for the Romford Bulls taking over. But look, I'm just going through the replay now, and it's good to see him back on top. Nice shot selection. The right hand gone over the top. He looked as though he's wide open, his opponent, for the right hand, but he showed good finishing ability. Nice little wide stance there, showing he's just going out for power. He didn't really take let his man go off the hook. That killer instinct is going to be taken in places if he can improve on all other aspects of his game, because that killer instinct is very hard to teach. It's instinctive. So it's nice to see that he's got that.
Now, that was an incredible performance from him. And you know what? I said it to you off camera, Ray. I'm saying it again. We've been talking in the preview about potentially the Romford Bull being English title level only. Based off that, stick him in with a world champion straight away. Fury, we're coming. The Romford Army are coming for you and the title of the greatest heavyweight at the minute. Oh,
yeah, definitely. In 2042, I'm sure you'll be ready.
No, Ray, we're not starting off with this negativity around the Romford Bull. You need to apologise. I'm president of the fan club.
I'll apologise when he comes on.
Don't, mate. Honestly, I can't even say how I'd react if we got the Romford Bull on this channel. The Romford Bull, Dave Allen, those two, mate, I'd lose my head. I would lose my head. So, I mean, while we've got a quiet moment while we're waiting. Oh, good evening, Chris. Great to have you on, mate.
Evening, Chris. You okay, mate?
I mean, to be fair, Chris, you lead me on nicely. I was about to say to Ray, talk to us about the rest of the card. But while we're on, Ray, Chris has just pointed out Ellie Scotney is the new European Super Bantamweight champion.
Yes.
And it was a classy performance. Obviously, anybody who's seen our preview or any of our videos knows I'm a big fan of Ellie Scotney.
Just a bit.
Again, president of the fan club. We're getting double bubble tonight. But being serious, she's got all the tools to do the job, hasn't she? A jab's good. I thought her right hand was brilliant tonight. I also really liked, her engine and work rate. I thought she set a pace. Ray, I mean, just break that fight down for us a little bit. And
yeah, I thought she took a few rounds to warm into the fight, if I'm going to be straight with you. What I liked about it, though, she didn't panic and she took her time. She used every second of that 2 minutes really, really well. She used the ring really, really well. The opponent that she was in the last series of games was really, you could tell she was knowledgeable about the ring. But Ellie Scotney, as I mentioned in the preview, she's got that ring IQ that sort of goes beyond our record in terms of she when you watch her in the ring, you wouldn't think she's had as many fights as she's had, which is a great sign. But she's a real technical fighter. She boxes nice off the back foot. The right hand often found its home. She used her feet really well to get in and out of range, and she looked good for the win. I had it about 97, 93, and I was really impressed with that performance. It was a nice, polished, mature performance, and she, with that weight class, there's lots of names to get her in. To get her in and against, and that was a good win. That was a good win against a good opponent. That when I first saw that matchup going to be like 3 weeks ago, I thought maybe is that a little bit too soon? That could be too much for Ellie Scotney. Maybe she's bitten off too much. But actually, she showed that she could chew that, because that was a really good performance.
No, it was, wasn't it? And I think a lot of people had that worry in the build-up, and then particularly with the 3-week delay from the, junior Ben saga.
Exactly.
And she did say that herself, didn't she? Post-fight, that it's been quite hard to sort of maintain her peak and just keep ticking over. So fair play to her for doing that. But I do think, obviously Eddie Hearn talked about world title next. Thinks she'll be mandatory for the IBF. And I do think that whole experience of the Ben issues and the delay, it can only stand her in good stead, can't it, Ray?
Yeah, of course. I think what you have to look at these is the psychology and the maturity it shows. The fact that a fight's being put back and it's been out of your control. It's very easy to go off the rails. It's very easy to lose focus in camp. Very easy to put that weight on, lose that discipline. But she stayed on track. She stayed focused. She did opposite of everything that I've just said there, and that's just being reflected in her performance. So, I mean, she's 6-0 at the moment. They can build her however they want to. She's got the pedigree. I think she can go on and be a real star because, like I said, when you've already got that ring IQ, everything else comes easier. You don't need to worry too much about the power. You don't need to worry about that because she's controlling the ring really well. She's keeping her opponents on the end of the jab. She's landing her shots when she wants to. She's the ring general in there. She's looking comfortable in her fights. She's a good talent.
Just good.
Look, I think that the difficulty is there's not that much depth in women's boxing. So you can go, it's a bit like the flyweight division in men's boxing, how you can go from the domestic level to European level, and then there's a real significant jump before you go to world level. That's my only drawback for Ellie Scottley, and that's not I'm sort of like praising myself, but that's not bad to give as criticism, because it's just if the division was more stacked, then it'll be a different cat of fish because you would want to test her against sort of like contenders, women gatekeepers, etc. But there isn't that depth. So it's very difficult to say if she's going to do really well on world level because it's too big a jump. That's the only thing I would say for her. But aside from that, look, she's got everything else. So there's potential there, Josh, for her to be a world beater. But we just don't know because the lack of depth is it's that's the one thing that for me that's killing women's boxing. It's not their fault, and it won't be the situation in 5 years' time. But at the moment, it is what it is.
Yeah, no, that is something that, unfortunately, it's a bit like inactivity, isn't it, during the pandemic?
Yeah,
we also can't help but consistently talk about the lack of depth in women's boxing. And as you said, I do think in 3 to 5 years' time, it won't be an issue that we're talking about, which will be great. But right now it is. I think she's ready for that world title shot now. I mean, 6 pro fights, again, that sort of backs up our point, the lack of depth, because I think she's ready for it. And I know I'm a massive fan of her. But, Ray, I'm not getting ahead of myself here. There's no bias. She is ready for a world title, and she's got a very good chance of winning one, hasn't she?
Well, she's got every chance with skills like that, of course. She's got every chance of picking up a world title. You would definitely not rule her out. But yeah, she, as I said earlier, her skill set goes beyond her 6 fights on her record, which is great. A great skill to have in the arsenal.
Definitely. I mean, boxing historian Davey, great to have you on. Evening, guys. I've only got my phone tonight, no fire stick, so I'll need to jump off for the Taylor fight. Not a problem, mate. We will be doing our reaction as well, so we'll be sticking around, and it'd be great to get your thoughts on, mate. You've been golden on our lives.
Nice to have you with us, Stevie.
So, I mean, Ray, just give us a run through while we're waiting for Jordan Gill and Kiko Martinez. Obviously, I'll start off with Jordan Reynolds. Now, he got the win for those that didn't see it on before the bell. It was 60-55, 6th round, a very comfortable performance. I mean, again, people may say we're biased because we've recently had him on the channel, but really classy performance. And I like the matchmaking as well. The opponent, his name escapes me, I apologise. But he came with ambition, didn't he, Ray? He didn't come to just sort of take.
Yeah. He didn't just come to blow over. He was tough as all boots. It looked as though Jordan Reynolds was going to stop him in the first sort of 15, 20 seconds. Jordan couldn't miss with a right hand. And at one point, I thought that was it. He was going to walk straight through him. But he held his own. He held his ground. Jordan cut off the ring really well. It's a fight going into the rounds. His jab was really good. He was setting up the shots with a jab. I thought Jordan was probably a little bit flat-footed and stood in front of him too much sometimes, and then got caught in return with silly shots. But don't forget, this is Jordan's first fight in a year, and Jordan's trying to just get back into it. I thought Jordan was really aggressive as usually was on the front foot. He's had issues with his biceps in the past and all sorts of muscle injuries. And he looked strong. He looked good, Jordan. He like I said, he couldn't miss with a right hand. And he set his shots up well. He was going from head to body, nice variation. And I think at this stage he just needed the rounds. He needed a round. I genuinely believe off of that performance, if Jordan wanted to get him out of there, he would have done. There was times when he just couldn't miss, and it's just a case of actually he's been out for a long time. Just need to get the rounds in, but it was a good, solid performance. So I was relatively pleased with that for Jordan. The Mickey Ellison Thomas Whittaker Hart fight was a really, really interesting fight. Before this was for the Central Area light heavyweight fight, wasn't it, Josh? The thing for me is, if you asked me before the fight, I would have said Thomas Whittaker Hart wins that relatively comfortably. Not just going off his previous team GB history, although that's very relevant. He was a very good amateur, Thomas Whittaker Hart. Signed up his manager's Tony Bellew, and he showed some good punching power. In fact, in some of his fights, his earlier fights, he reminded me of Tony Bellew, just that clinical power that he's got. But I was quite surprised. Ellison took that fight to him. Ellison he's obviously, that's the first time I've seen Mick Ellison box. And he's no respect of any reputation. And he really took that fight. And that fight was one of those fights where you were scoring one round for Thomas Whittaker Hart. The next round was going to Mickey Ellison and back to Thomas Whittaker Hart. It was a real back and forth fight. It was like a battle of attrition and a real good inside fight. Later on in the rounds, Thomas Whittaker Hart started to get cut, started to get marked up. His face started to become a bit of a bloody mask. And he started to get hit clean, but you could see the effect it was having on him. You could see the effect it was having on his neck. He was really feeling those shots really heavy. In the end, I had it, Mickey Ellison winning it by 2. And the ref gave it to Mickey Ellison by the 1. He was a deserved winner. But don't be surprised to see a rematch later down the line. Because my understanding is they want to make something of Thomas Whittaker Hart. But that wasn't a great performance, if I'm going to be honest with you. And if he performs like that in a rematch, you kind of think, has he seen his level? Because it was I was expecting a comfortable win for him tonight, and we just didn't get that. And then of course there's Gary Cully. We saw a sheer glimpse of him. Obviously, we've seen Gary Cully before. I was expecting that fight to go on longer than it did. What I liked about him, he's really effective on the back foot. We know about his height, 6'2", boils all the way down to 9 stone 9. But he looked quality on that back foot. It's that left hand. And I've said to you, Josh Enyas, in the group chat, he kind of reminds me of Ritson on the come up when he was coming through. And I said that on the preview, didn't I? And I'll say it again. I think he could. If they match him properly, he can get through people domestically in the lightweight division. I like the way he can just pick whichever style he wants, pick whichever angle he wants. He just the way that left hand came, he didn't put anything into it. He didn't twist his hips, didn't put his back into it, didn't sit down on it really. So that just tells you that I mean, it's at this level, but just what kind of power we're dealing with here. We want to see how durable he is. We want to see him tested, and that'll come as the better the opponents he faces. But so far, really, really good for Gary Cully. They're talking about getting him highlighting a show in Ireland, is possibly, or getting him in a big domestic fight over there. But I kind of want to see him. I kind of want to see more of him because he looks really, really exciting.
Yeah, definitely. Before I come to it, Darren, great to have you, mate. Evening all. I'm one of Chris Welch's subscribers. You recommended the channel. Thanks for tuning in, Darren. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button too. And cheers to you, Chris. Me and you speak a lot on Twitter and various platforms, so appreciate the shout out and getting a viewer in, mate. Although Darren's brought up a very, very good point about for anyone who doesn't follow Chris, and do check his social media page out and give him a follow, he's not really the biggest fan of YouTube boxing. It's more than fair to say. And he'd rather actually bleach his eyes than watch the Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva fight later on. I put it in the comments there. I think give it a go, Chris. You never know. You might be enthralled by it. But yeah, Ray. I mean, there's a lot gone on so far tonight, and I just going back to the Thomas Whittaker Hart fight. I was expecting him to win very comfortably, if I'm being brutally honest. As you said, Mickey Ellison 13-4 going into it, has been stopped viciously as well, so wasn't expected to put up too much of a challenge. And I really hope, because as you quite rightly said, Whittaker Hart's got that pedigree, got that reputation, he's got the tools to do the job. So it really would be a shame if at this point he'd sort of found his level. But we will see, as you said, I think we'll see an immediate rematch, and let's hope he can right the wrong, so to speak. But as for Gary Cully, wow. We again in our group chat we were speaking. I was very, very, very excited about that as a signing for Matchroom. And again, in a year where they've lost so much talent, I thought it was crucial that they brought in somebody who's had a fair few fights and saw it already around a good level, as opposed to signing, novices or Olympians and stuff like that.
It's that. Sorry to cut you off, Josh, but it's that middle batch. It's that middle category that they really needed to focus on. They already had champions or contenders for world titles. The problem with those is you can't all put them on the same bill. You've got to spread them out because they're more likely to go on pay-per-view shows so they can get well paid. But you don't want to be signing too many prospects as well because people just think, well, actually, their outcomes are pretty predictable. So it's that middle tier of people that Eddie Hearn needs to be filling his cards up with. And throughout the years, he's lost a wide variety of fighters. So that's why you were pretty excited about Gary Cully, because he could fill that void, can't he?
No, exactly. And let's not forget also, actually, while we're on, they've also signed Pat McCormack and Mark Dickinson this week. Now, I know, obviously, they're young in terms of their professional careers so far, but Pat McCormack in particular, I mean, Ray, you've given me some stick this week about Johnny Fisher and Ellie Scottney, but I distinctively remember, if we go back a few weeks, you're just as passionate about Pat McCormack, aren't you? I'm going to give you, we're getting some Kiko Martinez and Jordan Gill ring walks now, so I'm going to give you 30 seconds to talk to people about Pat McCormack if they don't already know him.
Pat McCormack, Olympic silver medalist, world amateur silver medalist. He's done it all as an amateur, former Team GB, and also senior ABA's welterweight champion. This guy from Burtley Amateur Boxing Club in the Northeast. He was originally signed with Probellum with his twin brother Luke McCormack. But this guy's going to be a real talent. He's going to be a real ticket seller in the Northeast. And watch out for him. Really watch out for him, because he's going places. He can box on the front foot, box on the back foot. He's got power in both hands. He's not afraid to mix it up. His shot selection is pretty good. And he's a very good body puncher as well. He's been in there with the best of the Cubans, the best of the Russians, the Kazakhs. And I do believe that experience translates itself to the professional game. He's a special talent.
I mean, to be honest, Ray, you took the mick a bit there, mate. I said 30 seconds. It was over a minute, but fair enough.
Well, I had to, you had your bit for Johnny Fisher and, Ellie Scott.
Yeah,
I would just get my bit in there.
I can't criticise this week, can I, to be fair? Darren's back. What happened if Eubank Jr. versus Paul main event happens on DAZN, Chris? Then you'd have to do it. I mean, Chris, quite clearly, if that happens, Darren, then you'll see me doing that video with my tongue tied to the back of a truck. Chris, I don't know what to say, mate. This negativity, come on, let's try it. Imagine the happiness on everybody's faces if Anderson Silva manages to end the Jake Paul hype train. Personally, I don't think it's going to happen. I think it needs a real boxer. But while Jordan Gill's just making his way to the ring, I will actually say Carl Froch has said this week that if he was to have one more fight, he would box Jake Paul.
He did,
and
yeah.
That Ray, you know I'm a big fan of the Cobra.
Yeah,
That did
yeah.
special things to me this week. I mean, the Romford Bull, Ellie Scottney, the Cobra talking about knocking Jake Paul out. Honest, I'd have to leave the channel. It'd take me a good 12 months to get over it.
You should have put the lottery on.
I should have, to be fair. Actually, it was a big jackpot last night. Actually, I think. So I mean, Ray, we'll come back to what's going on now in the ring. Jordan Gill looks confident, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Kiko Martinez.
Dave Caldwell's there, keeping them focused, giving them some sort of last minute words of advice. This is a big fight for him. I know I was joking in the preview about Kiko Martinez getting wheeled out. To be fair, he does. Anytime somebody's ready for any sort of European belt or world title or a contender for a world title, it's like, okay, we'll get him in with Kiko, get him out of the cupboard. But he really needs to be doing a job on Kiko Martinez if he's got any ambitions of fighting at world level.
No, he absolutely does. This is that sort of first acid test. I mean, Chris,
Kiko's in good shape as always. You know, he's really not coming in for a paycheck. He's in good shape. He's in good nick.
Well, he's talked this week, hasn't he, Kiko, about possibly having even one last world title shot. So he's clearly going to have took this seriously. He's a consummate professional, sort of well over 50 professional fights. I mean, Chris is back. Carl Froch, enjoy your retirement, mate. Don't give these irrelevant YouTubers in boxing the audience and views. But Chris, they're getting them anyway. And the worst thing is, promoters use it as an excuse for, then it brings eyes on real, like normal boxing. It does not. It does not. So I'm not a fan. Danny, the Katie Taylor fight hasn't started yet, mate. No, it's this is the chief support now. Jordan Gill and Kiko Martinez. Is there any boxing? Well, we're talking boxing, mate, and feel free to stick around and get involved in the comments. But obviously, we can't actually show the fight as YouTube would kick us off.
Yeah, we're just waiting for going through the introductions for Kiko Martinez and Jordan Gill. As you can see, Martinez having his record read out there, and he's looking pumped up, isn't he, Josh?
He is, mate. He's going to be up for this, isn't he? You know, he always comes to fight. He went out on his shield against Josh Warrington, and let's be fair, he still broke Josh Warrington's jaw, didn't he? So all this talk about Kiko Martinez being past it.
Yeah, that power isn't going to leave Kiko Martinez anytime soon. You always say power is the last thing to go for an Asian fighter, and I think for me is what type of fight is Jordan Gill going to impose tonight? Is he going to be sitting on the back foot? Is he going to try and take the Kiko Martinez? We saw in his last fight how effective he was off the rope. So I wonder what game plan he's got. It's going to be interesting.
It is. Danny, yes, we'll be effectively, I suppose, commentating and giving live updates throughout. That's what we're here for tonight. So feel free to stick around, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I mean, we talked about it a little bit in our preview, Ray, didn't we? And for me, Jordan Gill's got a box. I don't think he wants to stand and trade with Kiko Martinez. Martinez, he's a seasoned warrior. He's been there, done it. Jordan Gill showed he could do it. Obviously, last time, thanks to some brilliant corner work of Dave Caldwell as well. Cannot give Dave enough credit, in fairness. And there he is now giving his man one last little word. Not a problem, Danny. Stick around, mate. It's a pleasure to have you on. Oh, Chris, Kid Galahad has been very quiet. The first bell has rung.
Yeah, he's using that jab well.
He has, Kiko's come straight out, hasn't he, in fairness? Straight out for centre ring.
He has, but he's just keeping the distance while Jordan Gill, and I think that's just what he needs to do. I think the way he's going to be setting himself up is he's just on his bite there a little bit. He's just using the jab just to create that distance, and I think he's just going to circle to his right a little bit, just to make sure he evades that right hand. There he is, just keeping that distance again, just using that jab nicely, nice and calm, nice and relaxed, and just keeping Kiko at bay. It's a case of, can he do this for 12 rounds, but can he hit Kiko hard enough to maintain that respect and deter him from coming in on the inside? That's going to be key for Jordan Gill in this fight.
No, definitely. I mean, Yas, well, with his YouTube alias, has joined us in the comments. How do we see the fight paying out? Well, to be fair, I'm sticking with what we said in our predictions, yes. I think, Jordan Gill, he's got to use the jab, which he is doing, and he's got to box him. He cannot get involved in a tear-up. And I think as long as he does that and his engine will last 12 rounds, I'm backing Jordan Gill for a pretty convincing points win. I'm not going to say wide, but I think it'll be probably around the 116, 112. That would be a prediction.
Comfortable, and I've got to agree. I said the same in the preview. I tell you what punch will be key as well, Josh. The uppercut, when you've got a much smaller fighter coming forward, the same way Kiko Martinez does and leans his head forward, you've got to look at the taller fighter to throw that uppercut. Now, Jordan Gill, Kiko Martinez, he may look like a basic come forward fighter. He's not. He's really actually quite adept. He's a wily old fox. He knows that uppercut will be coming. So he's got to disguise that Jordan Gill. So we're going to have to see how he sets that up. But that could be key later on in the fight. Is he going to use body shots to try and slow Kiko down and deter him from coming forward? Is he going to throw it off the double jab? Is he going to throw it off a left hook? We're going to have to wait and see.
Definitely. Chris is back in the comments. I stick with my predictions. I don't flip-flop. I wear trainers. Chris, remind me, what was your prediction? I remember reading it thinking bold, but I could be wrong there. It could have been about a different fight. It's been a hectic week for previews and predictions. Danny's back. What's our predictions for Taylor Carabajal? Danny, I can't lie. I'm a huge Katie Taylor fan. My big worry is she's 36 now. Are the skills sort of on the decline slowly? But as long as she's up for tonight, which she's made all the right noises during fight week, I think she'll be all right and she'll get a wide points win, possibly a late stoppage. But, she's not exactly known for her stoppages, is she? But yeah, definitely a wide points win. What's your prediction for it, mate? And Ray, are you sticking with your prediction, or as fight weeks wore on, are you seeing a curveball coming?
No, I'm going to go for a points win. I know Katie Taylor's been on the decline, and she's been in the decline in her last few fights, even though she's won them. She's not looked as good as what she did 3, maybe 4 years ago. That's natural when you consider all the punishing fights that she's had. She's had a lot of hard fights, a lot of hard amateur fights as well, and that's starting to catch up with her. She's starting to slow down, leave her feet in the middle of the exchanges a little bit too long. But I'm going for a wide points win, to be honest with you. I still think she'll be too much for her opponent, Carabajal. But yeah, I just want to say that was a good round there for Jordan Gill. I gave him that round. He looked very, very comfortable in there. He has to watch out for that left hook from Kiko Martinez. Kiko's looking for that left hook. He's looking to set that up. So Jones just got to keep it tight.
He does. Danny's also Taylor by points. Guys, it'd be good to get everyone else's predictions in the comment section. Chris's predictions here. I say it through gritted teeth. Eddie Hearn knows how to make a decent undercard. He does. I do remember this now. He doesn't realise he's done something good. 3 + 2 to Eddie equals yellow. Yeah, I mean, Ray, just as this fight wears on, obviously Jordan Gill against when he won this European title, he had to go to the well, didn't he? And Dave Caldwell was vital in the corner. We've been over that, and it was a great performance and really almost like a Rocky film, wasn't it? That fight, in fairness, he looked gone and he managed to get the win. How much is that experience going to help him in there with sort of such an experienced campaigner, former world champion in Kiko Martinez?
Every bit so, because like I said in the preview, Jordan Gill hasn't had that extensive amateur experience compared to somebody like Josh Warrington, etc. in the featherweight division. So what he needs to do is really needs to be getting that learning in these type of fights and the fight against Guerrero. So I think he'll also be a tick in his boxes as well to say, actually, I can go the hard rounds. I've been through the trenches and I've come out on the other side. So it's almost like a little moral booster for him. And we always say boxing's 90% mental. So you can imagine what that'll do for his confidence. Just as he's beginning to get Kiko start to come forward and land with some of these exchanges, I still have Jordan coming out on top. His defense is holding up there. But this will be going through his mind saying, look, I've weathered the storm in the past. I can do it again.
100%. Yas is also sticking with the Taylor clear points win. friend of the channel, Jack Hughes, is back. You think, and he's going for
Evening,
prediction
Jack.
here. You got me all tongue-tied there, Jack. I think Kiko wins. Jack, I'd love to just get a bit of reasoning there. Are you thinking he's just too experienced, too powerful? Is Gill just not good enough? Because we did actually talk about that in our preview. You know, just where is Jordan Gill's level? Because we all still think of him as a young sort of prospect. And in reality now, he's 28. And a fight like this, it has to be that acid test before he moves on and moves
Nice
up.
right hand there. Nice right hand there, Josh.
Brilliant right hand. He's boxing well here, and also it's worth mentioning he was far more accurate in the first round, landing 43% of his shots as opposed to Kiko landing, I think it was 24%.
But this is the bit for me though, because Kiko's continuing to come forward, and although it looks as though Jordan's doing the better work, you've got to understand the psychological pressure Kiko coming forward is putting on Jordan Gill. That's going to wear him out. That's going to make him think twice. If he's not careful, if he hasn't got that confidence from his last fight, he could have doubts thinking, hang on, I can't keep this guy off. This guy's really strong. 38, you know, he's more like a 28-year-old at his peak. Kiko's really strong. He's coming forward. If Jordan's nowhere near his best psychologically, that could cause a problem for him.
But, you know, at Kiko's age, what is he, 36? I think. I'm sure he's 36, actually.
Yeah, something like that,
yeah. He's going to tire, isn't he? He's not going to be able to keep this come forward pressure. I mean, he's landed a couple of left hands there in that second round.
Yeah.
But he's not going to be able to keep that up for the 12 rounds, is he?
Well, we don't know, because he has done it in the past, hasn't he? We all say that Father Time catches up with you. But so far, I mean, when was the last time Kiko Martinez got really tired in a fight? I can't remember off the top of my head.
No, that's true. But his last two fights, in fairness, haven't also gone, you know, what... He stopped Kid Galahad quite early. He then was stopped by Josh Warrington quite early.
True. But
so that's the last 12 months, isn't it?
Yeah, but all we can see is we can go off the fights before that and the fact that he's in shape in this fight. So far, we think he's got the engine to do the 12 rounds. And if I was Dave Caldwell and Jordan Gill, that's what I would be thinking. You've got to think of the best possible Kiko Martinez, because the last time...
a knockdown, Ray. A knockdown.
Yeah.
Kiko scored a knockdown, and that is quite apt with Jack's comment. Jack's just put, I like Gill. I think around this level, don't think he'll be a world champion. I just think Kiko will break him down and stop him. I don't think he'll be able to keep up the pace. I mean, quite scary. You've just put that in, Jack. And then obviously we've just seen Kiko Martinez get a knockdown.
Just what I was saying, and I mean, I was obviously, I'm not going to turn around and say I thought Kiko would win, but the way I was breaking it down there, I was talking about the pressure that Kiko's putting on, because that can have a psychological impact on a fighter. It can, you know, I keep talking about that Bellew versus Usyk, when Bellew was winning the rounds, but the pressure of Usyk coming forward was making Bellew tired. It was making him second guess. He was having to concentrate so much. It was tiring him out. And you could see with Jordan Gill, you know, he's starting to second guess what he's doing there. And now Kiko's starting to come forward. Like I said, he looks fit, he looks strong. He's coming forward and he's landing at will now. Those 1-2s, those straight punches are what's doing it. Everything's coming off the jab for Kiko. Jordan, again, he's using the ring. But Kiko's cutting it off so well. He's like I said, he's a wily old fox. He's cutting off the ring well. Jordan's finding the ring a very small and lonely place at the moment.
He is. Yas agrees with you. I agree with Ray. I think Gill needs to sting him with his shot and break his heart round by round. Yeah, I mean, it's worth mentioning as well, Jordan Gill's also marking up, isn't he, Ray, around the nose and beneath the eyes, because he's getting a bit peppered this round. It's worth saying. I mean, to be fair, I gave both the first two rounds to Jordan Gill, as predicted, but, you know, you only need a knockdown. Now it's bat level. So it could be one of those fights, couldn't it, Ray?
Yeah. Round two wasn't as wide, like, you know, wasn't as convincing. Wasn't a big round for Jordan like the first round was, but this round, I mean, Kiko's landed some good shots, real good shots, and he's got him down again. That was a beautiful uppercut there from Kiko Martinez. He cut the distance beautifully. Jordan he was going back in straight lines, no lateral movement. And it was the uppercut I said that would work for Jordan Gill's actually worked for Kiko Martinez. And if that round had gone on 15, 20 more seconds, I'm convinced Martinez would have gone out with it.
Dave Caldwell's got a job on here, hasn't he, to get his man sorted. I mean, Yas is also, I think Gill's eye's looking a bit bruised. How this play out?
I think his nose is broken. That's what looks for me.
Looks bad.
I might be wrong there.
Jack's back. What a man Kiko is. I mean, to be fair, I really did think this was the end of Kiko Martinez after the Josh Warrington fight back in March.
Yeah.
But, here he is beating Jordan Gill. I mean, Chris has made an excellent point, actually.
Yes.
Gill is like a lot of boxers. Every time they step up to a level, they get beat. And I really hope we're wrong here, Chris, because I'm a fan of Jordan Gill's. I am, but hard to make a case for him.
And this is what we were saying in the preview, wasn't it? About Jordan. I mean, from what we've seen so far, is I don't think we were seeing in the preview, the three of us. He hasn't shown as he's got the levels to progress beyond here. But it was a case of, was it a very good match because of the Martinez is at the tail end of his career. But what Martinez has proven is that actually, form is temporary, class is permanent. And he might be at the end of his career, but he still could be potentially too much for Jordan Gill.
Ray, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was just about to say form is temporary, class is permanent. I mean, it's worth saying as well, start of this fourth round, Kiko has come out like a bull in a china shop, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And he's just, he's landing, but he is missing as well. Gill is, he's doing his best.
He's not blowing no Josh, he still looks fit, he still looks game. Jordan's caught him with a nice combination, ending with the left hand. But I think I need to see more lateral movement from Jordan Gill because he's moving back in straight lines, Josh. He's getting caught every time Kiko inches forward or goes, he just inches his left foot forward and he's catching him. He's closing the distance down. Jordan Gill just needs to use the ring like he was using in the first round.
There's 12 of you
said and done though, because the pressure's on him.
Definitely. There's 12 of you now in the comment section. Guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Give us your thoughts on this fight. At the minute, it is all Kiko Martinez. He's landing power shot after power shot. And I'll be honest, I'm a fan of Gill, but it looks like a matter of time. Davey's back in the comments. The bold Kiko, wow, too much experience.
Yeah, he's using that experience well, Davey, isn't he?
He is. Chris is back. I had Gill on points decision because I was with Josh about Kiko. I thought he'd not many fights left. And
Jordan Gill knocked down as well from the left hand.
It is. Jordan Gill is down again. Wow. I mean, this isn't good at all. Jack's back. I have a funny story about Gill, actually. When I was 0-1 as a pro, they tried to sell Gill as a journeyman to my coach, and I nearly took the fight on a Eubank card. That would have been mental, Jack, if you...
great story. Yeah.
Could have been you in there with Kiko.
I'm just seeing Martinez just stalking him now. He's not even cutting off the ring. He's just stalking him coming forward. He's almost like a shark that can smell blood in the ocean. He's going straight to him. And it almost looks a matter of time for Jordan Gill. And he looks as though he's wilting every time Kiko Martinez.
Down again.
I think that's it over now. That should be over. That left hook was so clean.
Dave Caldwell's with the towel.
Yeah. It's too much.
That answers this question. Igor Titov, great to have you in there, mate. Hit the like button for us. It's just finished. Kiko Martinez has stopped Jordan Gill in the fourth round. 4 knockdowns in total. And just to be totally honest, a little bit of a mismatch as it turned out. Jordan Gill won the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, Martinez slowly took over.
Chipped away.
Yeah, it's just. I think for Josh, is it a case of people just underestimating him? And when you look back at Kiko Martinez, I mean, what a career he's had. Don't forget though, he's fighting Carl Frampton way back when Carl Frampton was down at super bantamweight, and he gave him tough fights. I remember Carl Frampton was saying at the end of the second fight, he never wants to see Kiko Martinez again. And he's still near enough at the top end of the sport all these years later. When you consider all that, what a performance.
No, absolutely. I mean, Davey's back. It shows you how good Warrington is. I know Kiko's old, but he has stopped Galahad and Gill. No, absolutely, Davey. You can't take anything away from what Kiko's doing. And I think it's one of those now, count him out at your sort of peril, because every time we think, right, that's it for Kiko, he pulls up a performance like this. I mean, we were joking in the preview, well, Ray was, I mean, a bit disrespectful from Ray, if we're being honest, about Kiko Martinez being wheeled out just to test British featherweights. But he's done a bit more than test Jordan Gill tonight, I think it's fair to say.
Well, he's been wheeled out. He's been given his Zimmer frame and his oxygen mask. He's like a new man, 20 years younger. But what I would say, going back to that point from Davey, what I wanted to say was styles make fights, because I think people should remember that when Warrington fought Kid Galahad, it wasn't an easy fight for Josh Warrington. So what I would say is styles make fights.
Jack's back, the best Spanish fighter of all time and one of my favourite fighters. Gill was never going to beat him. Yeah, I mean, you can't argue. He's got to be up there for Spanish fighters. I mean, yeah, I thought Gill would be able to box his way to a decision, but I got to be honest, I was writing Kiko off, just thinking he was done after the Warrington fight. Yas is back. What next for Kiko Martinez, since he keeps reviving himself whenever we think he's down and out? Ray, you go first on this.
Well, he'll want a world title shot, won't he? I don't know whether he'll keep an eye out for the winner of the IBF for Zelfa Barrett. I don't know whether you keep an eye out on that. But I think at his age, he's not going to settle for anything less.
No, definitely not. I mean, do you know what? Just a thought. The featherweight division's lively. We've said this time and time again this year. Kiko Martinez versus Lee Wood.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be explosive, isn't it? I mean, You've got some big punches in there. You've got Laura in there as well. Don't forget.
Talk of the devil.
Yeah, Kiko versus Laura. I mean, that'd be a massive fight for the Hispanic community. You got some you got some good fights. I mean, I'd like to see him. I guess for him, no, the fights that we want to see might not make sense to him, because I think you want to see if he win another world title, but there's so many different matchups you can have in that featherweight division. It's a talent-rich division, so we're just gonna have to wait and see how it pans out for him.
There's a couple of comments here, Ray, that I just want to get your thoughts on. Firstly, we'll go with Jack. He beats Wood as well. Now, that's controversial. And I'm going to just put it out there. Probably sounds a bit rich after I've predicted Gill would have beaten him. But for me, Lee Wood, if he lands on anybody, they're going down. It's as simple as that for me, at featherweight. What would your thoughts, if you had to push you for a quick prediction, Ray?
I think Lee Wood's a far better boxer than Jordan Gill. I think Lee Wood has probably got the skills to effectively keep Kiko and Martinez at bay, and he's got the equalizer as well, which Jordan Gill clearly hasn't got. So I would probably favour Lee Wood on that one.
And then Davies in there with Conlon versus Kiko. Now, again, that is your slick boxer versus your sort of not too dissimilar now. Obviously,
who would you go for in that fight?
I think Mickey Conlon. I just think he's too slick. I think, he was a conundrum for Lee Wood, wasn't he, until the power shone through. And I just think Conlon, it's easy after a loss like that for people to sort of write Conlon off. Again, as people have written Kiko off, in fairness. But I just think at some point, and don't get me wrong, I'm taking nothing away from Kiko Martinez. That was a brilliant performance. But I just think there is levels to it. Father Time does wait for nobody. He's undefeated. And I do just think Mickey Conlon would just have too much for Kiko Martinez. Chris is back. Hopes for Martinez versus Wood. Thinks Wood would win twice on a Sunday for him. And Dave is a fan of Mick Conlon. I think you can't help but be a fan of Mickey Conlon, can you, Ray?
Well, I'm a fan of his ability. I'm not so much a fan of him. But you're right. He has got what you would need to beat Kiko Martinez. he could go missing in the 18-foot or 20-foot ring. He's really, really skillful. And I think he could have someone like Kiko Martinez chasing shadows. He really can. And he's quite depth as well. He floored Lee Wood quite early on. He has. People have always said, including myself, is he as good as what we were led to believe because of how good his amateur career was? But I think he's slowly starting to find his feet as a professional. He went down to super bantamweight. He's now come back up to featherweight. He wants to stay there. He's looking starting to look bigger and stronger at the weight. But he's really skilled, really, really skilled. I like his boxing ability. I really do.
Jack, it'd be great to get your thoughts on Michael Conlan, just see what your thoughts are on him. I mean, Ray, I'm going to have to ask, obviously, Jordan Gill now, he's only 28, now former European champion. Can he come back? I mean, I think we were right, weren't we, in our preview where we said that European fringe world would just be his level probably at best. But can he come back from this?
Yeah. I think we're just going to have to accept that he probably won't go any further than the level that he's performing tonight. I can't see why he can't come back. There'll be some good fights out there for him. If Zalfa Barrett was to lose, he could he could stay at that weight class. And there's some big domestic fights for him. Somebody like Jazza Dickens would be a good fight for him. I think he's picked up a IBO the other week on the Probellum card. So yeah, I wouldn't say it's over for Jordan Gill. No, definitely not.
That would be an interesting fight if it could be made, Jazza Dickens and Jordan Gill. Because again, I think Jazza is probably that same sort of, he'd always come up short at that true world level.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, and I think Jazza's just probably got that a bit more resilient than Jordan. But there's some good domestic fights for him. I think that Frank Warren's got a kid coming through, Nick Ball.
Yes.
Don't forget this Thomas Patrick Ward from the Northeast as well. If I was Dave Caldwell and Eddie Hearn, if I was in that camp, this is what I'd be putting forward to Jordan Gill. I'd be forgetting about going above this, going in for a rematch with Kiko Martinez. I thought he would win that on points relatively comfortably towards the end. I thought he would go through some difficult moments, some hairy moments, but I thought he would, come out with a clear winner, comfortable winner. But because he was bullied in there, essentially, first 2 rounds I gave it to him, it turned horribly for him in round 3. For me, it's focus on the domestic scene.
No, 100%. Davey's back, obviously, on Michael Conlan. I like him as a skill and as a person as well. I like the Irish, though, like Frampton and Paddy Barnes, etc. Then Jack is back. I don't rate Wood that highly as a boxer. I would say he's British level, but got the right people at the right time. Power, world class, but not too sure he's got the technical boxing ability. That's controversial, Jack. I mean,
well, to be fair, he couldn't outbox Conlan, but he was never going to. But when you've got that power, and to be fair, he can go on the back foot when he needs to. He can use his feet. He's got a pretty decent jab. His jab's all right. So he's not going to be, he's not in the same boxing skill level as a Santa Cruz or a Gary Russell Jr. Or Mickey Conlan, but he can mix it, and he has got that equalizer, and I think that's going to make him dangerous for anyone in that featherweight division.
Yeah, just one part of Jack's comment there. Got the right people at the right time, innit? I get what you're saying there, Jack, but I also then think, in fairness, Kanju at the time, he was written off. Given going into that fight, it was just like, no, he's got no chance. And obviously, Kanju was like ranked 1 or 2, depending on who you asked in the featherweight division. So I thought that was a great win, and timing definitely didn't sort of help him out there. It was just a great fight. We've got Chris is back. All I'm saying is, lucky I'm in a good mood with Carlisle winning. And something else, as for my second team, Liverpool, absolute joke of a performance, shambles. Davies also here. That's a big statement for Jack. He showed two champions' heart the way he got through little Mickey Conlon. Yeah, that's how I feel on it, to be totally honest. I thought, since he beat Kanju, and again, I can't speak highly enough of that win. I think he's been good. He was unlucky. Obviously, the Lara fight was one for me that I was very, very excited to see. And I do still hope we get to see it down the line.
Yeah, so do I. That'd be a real test for him.
It'd be a real test. I mean, I would rather see him in with Lara than Leo Santa Cruz. I know you've got the joke of a WBA belt situation, Ray, but which fight would you be more excited for?
Lara, because Leo Santa Cruz, for me, hasn't made that weight in such a long time. If we're going to go off what Jack was saying there, then that's another win, much like the Kanzu win. I can't see it for Conlon. That'll have an asterisk on, because Kanzu had a bit of a break, hadn't he, before he had a fight against Wood. Pretty much the way I know from directly speaking to Roberto Diaz is there was a break for Kanju. They weren't too sure what to do with him because of the Warrington situation. He was just sitting there on the shelf, and then the Lee Wood opportunity came up. That's not the case with Lara. Lara's active. Lara's busy. Lara's strong as they come. I wouldn't say he's at his peak, but you know what I mean? He's an active fighter at the weight. There's no issues about him making the weight, or he hasn't fought at that weight in a while. So Lara, for me, because you still got to remember what he did to Josh Warrington in that first fight.
He's got that power as well, though, hasn't he, in fairness?
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he has. And he's looking less crude and less sort of clumsy with it by the fight. He's looking a bit more educated with his power as well.
100%. Davey, I'm surprised Santa Cruz
hasn't
to the belt.
Davey, that's a crime. That
we've got to be getting to 3-4 years now since he's last actually fought at 126 and defended that belt. Yeah. This is for me, and we've talked about it in relation to Daniel Dubois having a WBA regular title, because for me, the regular belt situation is a disgrace. It's just obviously a sanctioning fees, revenue generator for each organisation. But for Lee Wood, I really do sympathise because, Ray's just cast a little bit of a spotlight there, obviously from speaking to Roberto Diaz on Kanju's situation. However, he was still in most people's top 1 or 2 in the division at the time of that fight. So, he beat the world champion. And when Santa Cruz hasn't been there for so long, it's just baffling. Ray, we've got a little bit of a filler fight about to start, haven't we? Obviously, because of the early stoppages. We've got Maisie Rose in there with Judith Habchad, who's, Habchad's 5 wins and 17 losses. Maisie Rose Courtney, this is her pro
debut. Yeah. I've heard a lot about Maisie Rose Courtney. I've heard a lot about her on social media, so I'm quite interested to see how she gets on, whether she lives up to that hype.
No, definitely. I mean, great. What a card to make your home debut on, as well as a female boxer.
She looks confident.
What is effectively now the chief support to Katie Taylor.
Yeah, if you want to call this it's like a swing bout, isn't it? But she's towering over her opponent there. So I'm just to see just how good she is. I know it's a pro debut, and you know what I'm like, how I judge my prospects, but she looks really confident in there.
Definitely, it's about to get going, guys. I've just noticed there's 15 of you now in the comment section. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and also give us your predictions for the main event, which we're here for. As I look down now at the fight, and Maisie Rose Courtney is just swinging away.
She's took the centre of the ring, nice and confident. That left hand's a bit low, but she's throwing the jab really, really well. I don't think she's got any respect. She doesn't care for what's coming back at her. But yeah, she's as confident as what she looked at in the introductions. And that she's picking her right hand shots really well as well.
Definitely. I mean, Jack here is back. He'd not heard of Kanju before the Wood fight, and looking at his record, he didn't know who he'd beat, so he was number 1. And obviously, he has lost post Wood as well. Boxing story, good point. I do not see. I had heard of him. Obviously, I'd seen a few of his fights, and obviously, as Eddie Hearn famously said, the fight posters were already printed for the big fight with Josh Warrington. So I still class him as a legitimate world champion. I'm not going to be changed on that. But back to what's going on in the ring. Maisie Rose looks good here, doesn't she, Ray? She's definitely controlling all the action as you would expect. In fairness, with
Yeah, she's controlling the centre of the ring, which always looks good for the judge's eye. Her opponent on the back foot isn't doing anything at all, to be honest. Hashbold. And Courtney's just landing with that jab. She probably needs to settle a little bit. I know it's a pro debut and all the excitement's going through at the minute, but sometimes when she's throwing that right hand, she's almost square on in front of her opponent. So yeah, she just needs to settle a little bit, and probably that'll come. But if she just relaxes, her shots will flow better. But that was an easy first round for her.
No, definitely easy first round. Just controlled everything, as you quite rightly pointed out, Ray. I mean, this is a unique pro debut for her, isn't it, Ray? Because, she's effectively on just before the main event now, which is Katie Taylor. So for women's boxing, it's the pinnacle. And, she'll be in front of everybody will be there now, audience-wise. I'm not quite sure how many tickets have been sold, in all fairness. But, Johnny Fisher, the Romford Bull, sold 2,000 tickets from his own hands, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's great.
Big Irish following as well. Big Irish following live on the zone, don't forget. And also, we're still on that crest from the Savannah Marshall, Clarissa Shields. Boxing's getting a lot of bad publicity at the minute, rightly so in some quarters. But women's boxing per se, it can't get any better than it is right now. So to come off and, like I said, all eyes are on her. It's a peak audience to be watching for a pro debut. So I can see why she wants to be quite eager to try and get a stoppage. But what I can see, yes, she's got real quick hands, to be fair to her. Again, she's looking for her openings a little bit more now, going for that right hand. She's taking a good look at her opponent there. But again, sometimes you can just be caught a little bit square on, and that's why Archbold's getting a slight couple of left hooks, catching her clean. Which silly shots to be getting caught with on your pro debut.
It is, isn't it? I mean, she's fighting very confidently, but
she looks spiteful, Josh. She does. She looks spiteful. Yeah.
But I mean, what she'll learn from this atmosphere and this situation, it's sink or swim. But what a setting for your debut, to be fair.
It could be one of those, Josh, where let's just say she gets to stop it. She calms down after this. She's got it out of the system, got the excitement out. And then she can start focusing on her boxing. But when she relaxes, she puts stuff together really nice. She starts to think about her work a bit more. When she's rushing and she's obviously trying to overwhelm her opponent, it's getting a little bit sloppy. But look, it's a pro debut. I don't want to give her too much slack. She's clearly dominating her opponent. Getting Archbold all marked up there. It's getting a little bit messy there. The referees had to step in. But yeah, she's in centre of the ring and using that jab.
She is. I mean, in fairness, she's had Hatchbold, up to the ropes for most of this second round, in fairness to her. I mean, just quickly, Ray, just a thought that's popped into my head. Obviously, we've given Eddie Hearn a bit of grief this last few months about their sort of lack of a UK schedule. The quality has dipped also. But tonight's been good, hasn't it? From top to bottom for me. We were both watching, obviously, before the bell. And I've really enjoyed tonight. I think it's had everything you'd want. We've seen a silky boxing performance off Ellie Scotney.
Stoppages.
We've seen, very early stoppages, in fairness, for the Romford Bull and for Gary Cully. We've seen a shock with Kiko. Well, not a shock. That might sound dramatic, but...
A shock for some. A shock for some.
A shock for some with Kiko beating Jordan Gill. We're now seeing a pro debut, and we've got an undisputed title fight as our main event. What's not to like, Ray?
Yeah, I just think, and this is for another show, another time. It needs to be consistency with the zone. You got to remember we're paying customers for this. We were promised when Eddie Hearn left Sky that he's going to join a platform which has got a bigger budget, which would mean for the paying public, for people like ourselves, more cards like this more often in a month. Has he delivered on that this year? No. So that's why I can understand the criticism towards him. It's all right whipping one good card out, hoping everything kind of dies down, and then doing that every 4 months. But he was talking like he was going to be doing this every month, perhaps twice a month, and that hasn't materialized. So we should be putting a lot of pressure on Eddie Hearn to be doing this far more often.
No, 100%. I mean, in fairness, I really enjoyed their sort of first 3-4 months of this year.
Yeah.
They had a great schedule. You know, as we've talked a little bit there about Josh Warrington, Kiko Martinez. Obviously, we had Wood Conlon, Jacobs Ryder at Ali Pali, which was another fight card that featured the Romford Bull, wasn't it, Ray? If we remember.
Yeah. And the Romford Bull cards, to be fair, you know, they sell. He's a big ticket seller, but we need to see more consistent from Eddie Hearn. Just while we're talking about this, we're starting to see Courtney just step up the gas in terms of how often she's throwing that right hand. She's really keen on getting Hashball out of there, but Hashball looks tough. Out these 17 losses, you know, she doesn't look as though she's going to be getting out that ring anytime soon. She's firing back now. I need to see a little bit more head movement from Courtney, but she's quite intent now. She's just throwing the right hand without even setting it up. So she's looking hell-bent for getting her out in this round.
No, she's determined. I mean, she's just walking her down at this point, isn't she? With 20 seconds to go of the third, walking her down, hands down.
You know what it is for me, Josh? You know, I'm watching this Maisie Rose Courtney now, and she's an advert for me as to for the case for women's boxing going to 3-minute rounds, because these 2-minute rounds aren't doing her style any justice because of how she's taking that time to pick her shots. Whereas for Clarissa Shields, it suits her right to the ground because she's quick. She has a fast start and a fast finish. Maisie Rose likes to pick her shots and take her time, so she's more suited to the longer rounds and the longer distance. That being said, she's still winning this fight comfortably. But for those that want the argument in women's boxing for the 3 minutes, as a pro debutant, this is an example, and this is an argument for it.
No, 100%. I mean, also, I would say I'm quite impressed with her tank so far. You know, young girl, pro debut, third round, 3 complete rounds at a very good pace as well, in fairness to her. And she's not blowing yet, is she, Ray?
No, she's not. She's not. And to be fair, she doesn't look as though she's getting out of second gear. I'm starting to think now that she doesn't have much power. But I always say that's not a problem if the skills there. But she's switching up to southpaw now. Like I said, she threw the right hand a lot in the last hand. Many times without even setting up with the left. She switches back to orthodox now. Again, just throwing her opponent there, just cutting her off, just keeping her in the corners, just taunting the body. Nice footwork just to create those angles there that go to the body.
She wants this stoppage here, doesn't she? She's hunting it.
She does, but I think now, you've got to the 4th round. Just win it convincingly. Don't take any silly shots. Don't take anything in return. Show some head movement.
Like that.
A nice little move she did 15 seconds ago. She just used her feet to create some angles, create room for her work to target the body. Let's see more of that now. She's not going to get her out of there in a minute. That's what I'll be focusing on. It's been a good performance, Josh. It's been a good, solid pro debut. Can't argue with it. She's won every round.
No, very impressed. And don't wrong, people will slag off the opposition, 5 wins, 17 losses. But
what do you expect from pro debut? Yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely. That brings experience, doesn't it? So to control this so confidently, especially with the pressure of the situation, very impressed with Courtney here tonight. Yeah,
she has, and she's displayed a lot of positives in there. Very, very few negatives, very, very few at all. I mean, apart from she took a couple of silly shots, but I think that you can put that down to the excitement on the pro debut. She's feeling the occasion. She's wanting to put on a show. She wants people to take her name away from tonight. instead of Katie Taylor's or Gary Cully's. But good performance, nice bit of showboating there as well. Put her hands there aloft,
There
and
you go.
that's a great win for her.
She's won all 4 rounds there
She
comfortably.
has. She's won them easy, nice and easy. And hopefully she just settles down for her next fight now, and we can see what she's really got in her locker.
Yeah, again, there's been a few tonight, hasn't there? That with some matchroom fighters have not took damage, so could and possibly should see them back out quite quickly. Obviously, Courtney, Gary Cully.
You could think. I mean, I can't see why she can't be out in a December show. Maybe in a November show, if possible. She hasn't, if her hands are okay, she hasn't taken too much damage there. She hasn't taken anything with any significance on her. So and for me, particularly when you're at the early stages of your career, when you haven't got a red tape around being on a pay-per-view card and finances and what have you, and purses, get yourself out as often as possible for your experience. She looked as though she was loving being out there tonight. That experience of hasn't phased her being under the lights. And she looks a really confident girl.
No, 100%. I think that's one thing that Matchroom really have let slip this year, how active they've kept their very young pros or even novices in the pro ranks. I mean, Campbell Hatton springs to mind. I know he's back out next weekend in Abu Dhabi, but his first year as a pro last year, he fought on some really high-profile cards, was active. This year, he's had 2 or 3 fights maybe, and he is someone that in particular needs the activity because he's learning on the job, limited amateur career.
Yes.
He, for me, needs to be fighting at least possibly 5 times a year in injury dependent type thing, because obviously, you've got your 10 fight rule, Ray, haven't you? But for me, Campbell Hatton, you may even have to apply a 20 fight rule at the rate of improvement that he's currently showing.
Yeah, and I would definitely agree with that because he has to do so much learning because he didn't have that amateur pedigree. But on the other hand, we don't know whether or not there's been injuries. We don't know whether or not he's deliberately being kept in the gym by his team, by his dad, by his uncle, and doing some learning in there, doing some different types of sparring with different fighters. We would like to see him out, and we would like to see him more active. But I've always said I want to see him away from the big shows. I want to see him being built, almost on small halls, and build his way back up that way. But either way, Campbell Hatton is a very good example that you picked there, Josh, because he needs to fight. He needs to learn and fight for his development.
But 2 quick points that just spring to mind there when you say that, Ray. Obviously, I know what you're saying about he can be in the gym, he can do his sparring and sort of, learn and grow that way. But I'd also say with Campbell, thinking back to Sonny Martinez, which is a fight for us all, he lost on the Usyk Joshua 1 undercard. Yeah. But he has shown on some other nights as well that possibly there's a bit of mental fragility there. He's tried to please the crowd too much, and not just on his debut, he's done it consistently. So I would argue he really needs that fight night experience as often as he possibly can get it. And then also, what are your thoughts on him being on the Abu Dhabi card next week? Because that's a big, high-profile card. I know it's going to be a bit of a different atmosphere as we see in the sort of shows in the, whether they be in Saudi or Abu Dhabi and Dubai. But
Middle East.
Middle East. It's still a pressurized situation, isn't it? A card of that caliber.
And that's my problem with it being on. You kind of answered your own question there, because if you have him on the big shows, all of a sudden he's going to feel the pressure and he's going to want to please the fans, and he's going to rush his work. If you get him on the small hall shows where there isn't that pressure, there isn't that expectation on him, he can focus on learning rather than having to impose on people that he's his dad's son. And that's why I think the Abu Dhabi actually card wouldn't be too bad for him, because it's a bit like fighting in Japan. It's like fighting in front of a well-attended, well-packed library. So I don't think that'd be. It's very different from being in front of like the O2 or the MEN or whatever it's called now, and Manchester, or the Echo again, M&S Bank, whatever it's called now. Those type of atmospheres where it's like a cauldron. He kind of needs to be in those quiet atmosphere. I just think with DAZN doing this, DAZN Italia and this type of stuff, that's what it should be doing with Campbell Hatton. Take him to Italy, take him to Bilbao when they do the Spanish shows, take him to Germany, take him to America, and he can get more learning in.
No, 100%. I mean, Mark, thanks for joining us, mate. Hope you stick around.
Mark.
We'll be commentating on it. It is our watch along. Unfortunately, we can't actually show the fight as YouTube will just take us down annoyingly. But yeah, do us a favour, hit that like button, subscribe button. We have sort of boxing content coming almost every day. And it's great to get involved. It's a good growing community now with a lot of regulars. And we have some good crack about it. I mean, there's 22 of you now in the chat. So guys, let us know your predictions for this main event. Hit that like button. Yeah, we want your thoughts. Ray and I are both unanimous, and we think a comfortable points win for Katie Taylor. 26 of you now, so come on, guys, get that done.
But could this be the fight that Katie Taylor slips up? I mean, it could be a potential banana skin. Katie Taylor's started to show decline in our last 3 or 4 fights, Josh. Mother time, shall we say, for Katie Taylor. It catches up to everybody, doesn't it? And at some point, Katie Taylor will lose.
No, it's tough because I really am a big fan of her. And,
So for what she's done for women's boxing, Josh, it's unrivaled. And I expect her to win comfortably. But you must get where I'm coming from. At some point, there'll be somebody out there, in whether it be in the lightweight division or somebody who's at super lightweight, come down to take on Katie Taylor, whether it could be Chantel Cameron if she doesn't win against Jessica McCaskill, if she thinks, actually, I can come back down to my natural division, or for a lot of money, I'll come down to lightweight and face Katie Taylor. Her energy and her accuracy could be the antidote to what Katie Taylor brings.
Yeah, it could. I mean, just a quick comment. I almost commented with a link for a fight and had to stop myself. Yes, Davey, please do not do that. The YouTube police will be swarming mine and Ray's house. So, yeah, let's not do that. But no, back on Katie Taylor, Ray. I do agree. I think the win over Amanda Serrano was possibly the cherry on the top of the cake. She's had a fantastic career, and I think that might have been the pinnacle. For me, I was worried about her going into that fight. I thought, Serrano might just edge it, but I am a Taylor fan and was hoping Taylor could get the win. But for me, this fight's more the worry of, can she be up for it? Because when you've had those history-making events, being on all, every news outlet in the world's there, on breakfast TV, everything, it's history. How do you then get up for a mandatory defence? And I know the mandatory defences come with, obviously, being a world champion, particularly being an undisputed champion. Sorry. We're going to see a lot about Katie Taylor's sort of the mental side, which has never let her down before, but she's got to really drag herself up for this one. I mean, Jack's back in the comment section. Agree with Ray 100%. I don't think Katie's looked great for a while now and potentially lost 2 fights, but with the politics got the win. Yeah, I mean,
the Pursuing fights, Spink the Main, Natasha Jonas, she's not looked great, if I'm honest. Even in that 5th round against Amanda Serrano, I mean, she was all over the gaff, if we're going to be honest. She really done well to dig deep in to come back and win that fight. I drew shades and parallels. I was saying to a couple of people in my WhatsApp chat, Davies, one of them, I drew comparison to that round to remember when Amir Khan fought Marcus Maidana in that 10th round? Yeah. And Amir Khan was all over the shop, and it was only, if that round had gone on for 10, 15, 20 more seconds, Maidana would have finished him. You kind of thought it was all over for Katie Taylor then, but she got through it. She's got a champion's grit, champion's heart, and she has got a great mentality, and she doesn't strike me as the type of boxer to underestimate anybody. Her mental strength is as good as anybody, so I think she will be motivated for this fight. I think she'll be up for this fight. It's a performance levels that you just can't always maintain the older you get. And that type of style that she's got as well, Josh, it's a keep busy style, a very aggressive style. there's a lot of wear and tear in that cell. She is starting to slow down. Her feet are starting to look slow, and she's getting hit a lot.
No, 100%, and I agree with what you and Jack are saying. There's been a couple of fights where she's not looked great recently. Thinking back to the Jennifer Han fight in particular last year. I agree. I mean, for me, the Pursoon fight, the first fight, she definitely lost by a round for me. I've watched it 3 or 4 times, and
was that the first one or the second one you seen?
The first one came to the same conclusion each time. The second fight for me, I thought she won it by a round, but would have possibly sort of tolerated a draw. Jonas again.
Yeah, draw wouldn't have been a bad result. Yeah.
Guys, 29 of you now in the comment section. So give us your fight night predictions. Is Katie Taylor going to win, or is Carabajal going to spring a shock? I'm just trying to think, Ray. I mean, the Jonas fight's an interesting one, isn't it? Natasha Jonas, we're big fans of her, and it's great to see her now with Sky and Boxer getting those consistent opportunities, and she is unifying. And it looks like she's going to get another chance to do it. How did you see her fight with Katie Taylor? Did you think she did Taylor win it? Was it the right result? Because I think it was close.
I had Taylor winning it, but it was close. If somebody had argued against the rounds that I gave to Taylor and gave them to Jonas, I wouldn't have complained. It was a real. I mean, don't get me wrong. I saw their fight in 2012 on the TV, at the Olympics, and it was pretty much the same. It was a real. Although Katie was far fresher and better in that performance, Natasha Jonas still gave as good as she got, and that just showed you just how good Natasha Jonas was. Just while we're talking, I've just seen that Terry Harper's rocked up to be in the punditry box. What a good fight that is down the line. Natasha Jonas and Terry Harper now at super welterweight. But going back to the original question, it's a case of yes, Katie Taylor's got a fantastic resume where she's fought people that have been good fighters, great fighters. But to be honest, she, in my opinion, she lost the first fight against Pursoon. The second fight, in my opinion, was a draw. The Jonas fight was really, really close as well. That could have gone either way. So there are a few question marks on that resume.
So she could have the Pursoon trilogy. Pursoon's still active. That's, I'm assuming that's a fight you'd be up for seeing, because I'm just looking at this from a point of view of now. Obviously, the big talk is about Amanda Serrano at Croke Park.
Yeah,
but potentially running out of worthy opponents. I mean, guys, just before I let you answer that, Ray, there's now 30 people in the comment section. So, guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and stay with us for updates on tonight. Ray, I'll hit you with that question. Would you be interested in the Pursoon trilogy? Is that a worthy fight at this point for Katie Taylor?
No, I would avoid Pursoon like the plague. I really would. Why would you put yourself through that again? She pretty much beat you in the first time. Arguably could have beat you in the second time. Why? Like, is the money really going to be that good for Pursoon? I don't think so. I think for me, you're looking at, okay, your legacy's pretty much there and built. What massive paydays are out there for you? And for me, it's a Serrano fight over an island. For me, it's a perfect fitting end to your career. She would sell Croke Park out. I can't think of the top of my head. Is it at 80,000, 60,000? That would sell out, no problem. Get another 7-figure payday and then bow out. Where Pursoon, because at least with Serrano, even Jake Paul and Serrano admitted it, she's got the size advantage, she's got the strength advantage. Pursoon's got all the advantages, and Katie Taylor's declining. So why would he risk his sort of like final fight against somebody who is just really, your boogie woman? Although you've had the wins on paper, go for Serrano.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm coming in from a point of view as Taylor has been sort of talking this week that even though she's 36 now, that she feels she's got years left in her, which, me, you and Jack, I'm a fan of hers, but I think we're all on the same page that, no, she hasn't. And I just think if you're going to, even into next year, I mean, for me, in the spring, summertime, yes, Amanda Serrano, Croke Park, incredible fight, incredible night. And I totally agree. It's the perfect place to end your career, perfect fight as well. But if she's not going to do that, there's only going to be so many of these mandatory fights that, we're not really interested, are we? You want those. Katie Taylor is at that point. You want mega fights, same as Shields and Marshall. Where do either of them really go from here?
Well, Carissa Shields is different because Carissa Shields, as I was saying earlier when I was talking about Ellie Scottney, there isn't a depth there, and there isn't that many big lasses really. Whereas at the under end, that's why Katie Taylor's resume, it looks better than Carissa Shields, because there's more talent at the lower weight end classes at women's boxing right now. It'll be different in 5 years' time. And don't forget, if boxing doesn't happen at the 2028 Olympics, all those very good amateurs will just turn pro anyway. Right. Don't forget, there's still people in MMA that have been in the boxing ring. People like Holly Holm, she's a big name. So if you get Holly Holm out the UFC, that fight could sell in America because everyone knows who Holly Holm is. You got Chantel Cameron. Like I said, she's, the thing about the women is they can go up 2 or 3 weights, come down 2 or 3 weights. So why can't Chantel Cameron? I mean, if Chantel Cameron beats Jessica McCaskill, she becomes an undisputed at welterweight. Why not have a fight between 2 undisputed world champions at a catchweight? That fight would sell really, really well. So there are some better options for her than a Pursuit fight. But for me, at this stage in his career, you want to protect Katie Taylor, because you've asked me if I'm Katie Taylor, how would I say it? You would want to don't put yourself in there with someone like Pursuit, where you could risk getting stopped. Well, not stopped, because I can't see anyone stopping Katie Taylor, but getting beaten quite widely. Put her in where you can still make, because she's not going to make that much money from the Pursuit fight compared to the Serrano fight or the Holly Holm fight or Chantel Cameron. Or a rematch with Jessica McCaskill.
Yeah, if that could happen, obviously McCaskill, it's at 140 next, so she can still do it. That'd be good. I mean, very briefly, then we had 32. So, guys, don't forget to give us your predictions before the fight. A few comments. Davey, good little group tonight. It has been a good one, mate. I've enjoyed this one so far, and we're not even at the main event yet. Yas is back after hearing the noise in the arena. I think when Taylor comes out, the crowd pushing her on, it'll give her that spring in her step and she'll put on a good boxing performance. Jack's back. Holly Holmes is my girl. What an absolute stud.
Yeah.
It'd be a great fight, and I can see her doing some form of crossover. Obviously, Chris Cyborg's been talked about also.
Yes, Cyborg,
There are options for her, but I've got to just be honest. If Katie Taylor's going to carry on fighting at 36, and next year she'll be in 37 years old or whatever, I don't want to see her doing these mandatory defenses. At this point, she's had the belts, completed it type thing, 2-weight world champ. 39 of you now, guys, in the comment section. We will be giving 40 now even. We will be giving a good commentary running through this. Give us your predictions. Davey sticking with a wide points win for Katie Taylor.
I agree.
Chris is back. He's had his rant. Chris Welch has his own YouTube channel. Guys, check that out. There's some good content on there. Yeah, 41 now. Quite right, Davey. But yeah, hit us with your predictions. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. We've seen the ring walks there, Ray. I mean, they did a great little video package there, obviously, about how Katie Taylor reached out to Eddie Hearn to sort of start this journey and really catapult women's boxing to where it is today, because she has been the catalyst for it. Love her or hate her. I like seeing stuff like that. I mean, it adds a historical feel to the production for me. But she looks confident, doesn't she?
She looks in great shape as well. She looks focused, as she always does. And she looks ready for this, and I'm hoping we see a great performance from Katie Taylor. Like I said, my worry is the decline and all these hard camps, because I think it's when you get in these mandatory fights, it's worth noting that it's the camps that take it out of the fighter, not necessarily the fights. And that's the thing with Katie Taylor. Her body's been through. She's been if you look back on her career, she's been probably one of, and I'm including Ireland in this, UK and Ireland. She's probably been one of the most active fighters over the course of her career. If you compare it to the likes of Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, Callum Smith, for example, she's been very, very active for a matchroom fighter. And she has built women's boxing to where it is now.
We're getting some predictions in some new names. Brian Hogan. Brian, great to have you with us, mate. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and he's going with the Katie Taylor stoppage. Adrian Highland, same to you, mate. Great to have you on. Katie wins on points. Fair few Katie wins on points predictions, ourselves included. Yas is back with us. My final prediction, the occasion will swallow Carabajal and Taylor will stop around 6 to 8. Wow, you've changed, Yas. On our preview, you were obviously back in the points when you flip-flopped. I think not being on camera has got to you, mate, and you've bottled it. But, yeah, Davey's pointing out she's not really on for stoppages. No, it's 6 stoppages on Katie Taylor's slate.
Anything can happen with those small gloves on, though, Davey. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, if you hit someone clean in the right spot with those small gloves, anything can happen.
I want to see, I mean, there's 35 of you at the minute. Is anybody predicting a Carabajal win? I'm guessing we've got no Argentinians on, but you never know. She is 19-0 herself with, only 2 stoppages. So it could be a bit of a firefight. No, neither known for their stoppages. Chris is sticking with a Katie Taylor win on points. Brian's back, only 6 stoppages she's had. Carabajal is not at this level. The ref will jump in. Now, I think that's a fair statement, Brian, 100%. That is an outcome that I could see later on, as, Yas has gone with 6 to 8 there.
Yeah.
Probably
just really educated point, it really is. She could overwhelm. You've got to think of Katie Taylor's style, and Katie Taylor's style is to throw volume punches, to be on the front foot and to be really aggressive. Pretty much like an old school swarmer.
Yeah, Ray, what are your thoughts there? Carabajal just on her in the corner, and she's smiling. She seems quite light-hearted. Is that I'm here to enjoy it and get paid, or is that I'm feeling relaxed and I'm going to shock the world?
Well, we don't know, because you look at Katie Taylor now, and she, if you hadn't seen Katie Taylor before, you would just think, oh, does she look nervous? But because I know Katie Taylor, I haven't watched her as an amateur. She just looks laser focused to me. Now, if you look at her opponent, again, you would think, oh, she looks very confident, doesn't she? Because she's smiling, she's taking it all in, she's having a laugh and a joke. But that could be misinterpreted as actually she's just waiting to get a paid check at the end of this fight. We don't know. We won't know until the first bell goes. But I just think out of the two of them, Katie Taylor looks the more relaxed, the more focused.
100%.
She just looks as though, she looks as though she's walking to the bar to order another pint. Not one bit of sweat, not one bit of one bit of nervous energy in her. Oh, nice and relaxed.
Yeah, Davey's back after the fight. That's everybody, guys. We are staying on. We'll be doing a live reaction to it, and we want your reaction as well. So do stick around. And you're absolutely right there. Ray, Katie Taylor looks completely chilled, but it's worth mentioning, isn't it? In fairness to her, she's been there and done it time and time again as an amateur and now as a professional as well. So I'm excited for this one. It's got that big fight feel, which at times this year we've had little stretches where we haven't had the big fight feels, have we? In the UK, certainly.
But Yas made a great point in the comments. When you see Katie Taylor on the card, the audience comes out and they come out behind her. Wherever she goes, she gets the cheers. She can be boxing in my back garden, people still come out. She's entertaining. She throws a lot of punches. She's an exciting fighter. And we've seen little bits of vintage Katie Taylor. She's going in and out, looks really quick on her feet. She's not rushing. She's getting out of range there well. Hands are up, feinting nice, quick hands. She's looking sharp. Nice start for Katie Taylor.
Definitely, she's come out. She's took the centre of the ring, as you said, and she looks ready for this. I mean, in fairness, I was thinking, is Carabajal just going to try and steer clear of her and come to survive? But she doesn't look like that at all, does she? She's throwing a few herself, and she's meeting Katie in the centre.
I think you might end up having to apologise to Brian. this Carabajal, the right hand so telegraphed. I mean, I can see it over here, and I'm in County Durham. It's 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 Katie Taylor's just reading that all day long, all night long. If Katie just doesn't stand so upright, just dips a little bit when she's coming in, and just counters that with her left hand, either to the body or the head. Katie will be comfortable.
Guys, 46 of you with us now, so do us a favour, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and stick around. We'll be keeping you posted on the fight. Sadly, we can't show you it, as YouTube will arrest us and put us in prison. But
don't want that. Not just before Christmas either.
No, yeah, maybe in January, actually. Long month in it, mate. Not usually a lot of boxing either.
January blues, yeah. No boxing on. But this Carabajal, she looks a little bit basic for me, Josh. She's kind of just relying on the jab and in a wild right hand. Katie Taylor's reading that. Katie Taylor's, she was comfortable in there for me. Nice, easy first round. Almost vintage Katie Taylor, in and out of range. Quick long punches with the 1-2s. She could see that right hand coming from a mile off. 100%. She ducked underneath, came back with lefts of her own to head and body. Yeah, I think she could see the rhythm and the pattern of Carabajal very, very easily. Carabajal was just going for the left hand and then right hand over the top.
55.
You need to be a bit more sophisticated when you face someone like Katie Taylor.
Yeah, 56 of you with us now, guys. Smash that like button and let us know how you think it's going and what your predictions are for this one. I mean, Ray, Katie Taylor, she's not sitting down in between rounds there. I mean, we've seen
That's intimidating. That's intimidating.
It is, isn't it? But should we be reading too much into that? Because at times we've seen her look absolutely blowing between rounds, thinking back to April with the Serrano fight.
Well, again, you just answered your own point there, because that was against Serrano. Serrano's far better than what she's got in front of her tonight. Against Serrano, you're fighting somebody who's your equal. Really, the only difference was the size, in my opinion. I tipped Serrano to win that fight, and obviously I was wrong. Serrano was a really, one of the best fighters in the world. You can't say that about Carabajal, so you can get away with standing in your corner. I'm not being disrespectful to Carabajal, and neither is Katie Taylor, but you ain't standing on in the corner against Amanda Serrano. You sit down on your stool.
No, definitely. I mean, start of this second round, just seeing 72 of you. Thanks for joining us, guys. It's great to have so many of you with us. Carabajal showing ambition, isn't she? I think for her repertoire, she's sort of got the kitchen sink here, hasn't she?
She is, and she's just caught Katie a couple of times. Again, it's that right hand, and she just needs to just stay clear of that right hand, Katie Taylor. I like to see her just circle that right hand a little bit more. She's getting out of range well. And she gets back into range to land some of her shots, that right hand, an uppercut. Now she's just got her in a clinch, just showing her strength. Katie Taylor's really physically strong. But I think that seems to be the only weapon that you can make out of Carabajal seems to have. It's the right hand. She stays away from the right hand. She's comfortable.
No, 100%. I mean, Taylor there, a right hand, then a left. Do you think she's just taking her time with this one, Ray?
Well, the left hand, it's still doing its damage, and like I said, with those gloves on, those small gloves on, anything can happen. She's winning it comfortably. She's deterring Carabajal, who's balanced. It's magnified when Katie Taylor lands, because she always seems to be off balance as Carabajal, where Katie Taylor's feet always seems to be balanced, and that makes a difference. Balance is really important in boxing. For when you throw your shots and when you receive your shots, and Carabajal always seems to be off balance when she's receiving a shot, and obviously when she's throwing one, which just tells you how this fight's going. And Katie Taylor's using her intellect, using her ring IQ, just to pick off that. You got to remember the judges are seeing it like that as well. It just looks as though all the cleaner work's coming from Katie Taylor.
No, 100%. We've got some comments in. Andrei Lamenko, a new subscriber for us now. Thank you ever so much for doing that, Andre. Hit that like button as well if you haven't. He's another one of Chris's subscribers from Ukraine. Team Usyk, Team Lomachenko. Yeah. Well, it's a great night for you tonight, isn't it? Lomachenko back out later on this weekend. I'm not quite sure what the time difference is, but for us, it's in the middle of the night. Yass is back. He's got it 2-0 Katie Taylor so far. I don't think anybody can really argue with that.
That's
and
true.
Ray, I called it the other day in one of our previews. I think you've got a little fan here with Yass. Carabajal's right hand is quite telegraphed. Ray's already said that, Yass. You should be on here saying that, mate.
But it is to be honest. And I think the important thing though is Katie Taylor going to read that all night long, or is Katie Taylor just through? We talked about Mother Time. Is she just going to plant her feet a little bit too long and get caught with that right hand? Like I said before, anything can happen with those small gloves. But Katie Taylor just needs to stay sharp and not get greedy and not get complacent. No, she's landing right hands of her own, no, Katie Taylor.
She is, yeah. And Carabajal, yeah, she is the stronger fighter. And when Katie Taylor's landing, Carabajal, in fairness, there in the first minute of this third round, she was looking to hold, wasn't she? And tie Katie Taylor up, which, for me is the way this is going so far. It's just delaying the inevitable. I mean, Taylor's just picking her shots beautifully, as you'd expect. Footwork's nice. She's setting them up, moving around the ring. I mean, Carabajal looks quite slow and almost cumbersome. I think it's fair to say, Ray.
Yeah, she does. She does. She's just kind of like plodding forward, really. She looks really quite basic, which is playing into Katie Taylor's hands. You just kind of think, is Katie Taylor just going to let her hands go? But she's doing enough to win the rounds. The single shots that she's throwing is having an effect. It's quite clear to see who the ring general is. It's quite clear to see who the effective aggressor is, who's got the better defense. Like I said, the cleaner work's coming from Katie Taylor. She's comfortable winning this round.
Definitely. I mean, I was just about to say, Ray, not quite, when it just done 3 rounds. I mean, it's definitely 3-0 Taylor for me.
Yeah.
But we haven't yet we've seen the odd combination, but we've not seen the punches in bunches that we're used to seeing from Katie Taylor.
That's right, yeah.
Is that because the opponent's a bit cumbersome and a bit erratic, or is there some weight to what you were saying, Ray, before the fight? Obviously, Jack was agreeing with us, with you. The decline's there. She's aging. Is it just something that, is this another sign of if she was in there with better opposition tonight, we'd be thinking, oh dear?
Possibly. I just think that she can no longer throw those 4s and 5s and be out of range as effectively as she was 3-4 years ago. This Katie Taylor is an older Katie Taylor. She needs to be smarter. She needs to fight smarter. Not necessarily work harder, just fight smarter. That may now mean throw single harder shots instead of having to rely on that eye-catching 4s and 5s that she was throwing and getting away with 4 and 5 years ago. Because what was happening in the last few fights, when she was throwing those 4s and 5s, she was leaving her feet in there a little bit too long, just like Amir Khan used to do throughout his career, and that's how he was getting caught, because people were punching with him, they were timing his shots. And with Katie Taylor, they kind of doing that and they're getting on top of her. Katie Taylor's got that chin though, and she's got a real solid chin, but she doesn't want to be doing stuff like this, just standing in the pocket. She needs to be getting out of range, just doing her work, getting back out of there.
I was just about to say, at the start of this 4th round, first 30, 40 seconds, she's made a fight of that, hasn't she? I mean, she had Carabajal backed up to the corner, was throwing. We were seeing some of those punches in bunches that we're used to seeing from her.
Yeah.
But Carabajal was throwing back as well, wasn't she? I mean, I think it's fair to say neither fight was having that much success. But now they're back in the middle of the ring. Carabajal's landed a couple of times, but then Taylor's come back with her own right and a left. Taylor doesn't need to make hard work of this, does she, Ray? I mean, no one's really expecting the stoppage win. She's 3-0 up on rounds, surely. This 4th round, so far, she's made harder work of it than she really needs to.
Yeah, she just needs to coast it, She just needs to coast it, just get back on her boxing. She doesn't really need to mix it up where she doesn't need to. She'll just make things a bit more difficult for herself. Look, it's entertaining for the fans, I get that. But, if Katie Taylor wants to be around for his years, like she's saying she is, she wants that longevity. You ain't going to get longevity from mixing them and having unnecessary punishment and shots like that.
No, definitely. I mean, it's worth mentioning now, Katie Taylor's been the undisputed lightweight champion for 3 years. June 2019, she won it. That's a long reign as an undisputed champion, isn't it? When you take
Yeah.
into account the consistent mandatory, she's obviously had the voluntary with Amanda Serrano. I said just before the first bell rang, that to see the fights we want to see, we actually be opposed to her getting rid of the belts or dropping a couple. What are your thoughts on that, Ray?
What for the fight with Pursuing, did he say? Or
Oh no, just in general, we talked about a Chris Cyborg, we talked about a Holly Holm.
I don't. She's not the type. She's not the type that's going to want to drop the belts. She's going to want to keep those belts. Yeah, I think that could be tricky in negotiations. That if she has to give up one of those belts, she prides herself on being undisputed. I don't think she's going to want to really give up one of those belts. But yeah, for me, I always go back to what I said. Look at the finances. Secure your legacy financially. I don't know what she's got lined up after boxing, whether she goes into coaching or promoting women's boxing, what have you. She really knows her boxing anyway, Katie Taylor. If you listen to her speak, she's really, really informative. She's really knowledgeable. She's got a lot to pass on. But regards to this fight, looking comfortable again. She's not looking to engage, go near the ropes. She's tied up a woman there. Just got a little bit the better of the exchange there. She's looking solid on her feet. But yeah, more of this from Katie Taylor, not so much of the engaging.
100%. Davies back. Taylor doing the best work so far. Looks very comfy in there. And also makes a great point. 75 watching now. Great stuff. Really like that, guys. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. We have content coming daily. We do a live watch along at 8:45 every Monday, which we've got a few regulars, but we have some great boxing chats in there. So it'd be great to get more of you on. Chris is back. What do you make of rumours of Shields versus Taylor? Now, that is a great fight on paper for me. It's obviously the top two women, regardless of what you think about Katie Taylor, whether she's just passed it or not. But for me, the way it just couldn't be overcome. Taylor didn't look so hot even when she went to 140 for me.
Yeah,
and obviously, who knows now? Now Shields has been at 160 for a bit. Who knows what she could realistically come down to safely? And after all the controversy around catch weights that we've just experienced with Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, I think we need to, unless we're, it's quite close, we need to be really sensible about what we're doing with catch weights. I just think Shields is way too big. And, literally as I say that, Jack, who, very well informed on this topic himself as a Southern Area champion, silly fight, Shields is way too big. Guys, 81 of you with us now. Just finished the fifth round of this. Has Taylor won them all for you, Ray?
Yeah, I've got a, I'm just doing my score now. 5 rounds of Katie Taylor. Good round for her. Didn't take anything at all. She was getting the better of the exchanges where she needed to tie her up. She did. She just looks a stronger fighter. This Carabajal looks really. She ran out. Let's be honest. She ran out of ideas in the first round.
Yeah.
Everything's telegraphed from her. Katie Taylor can read her like a book, basically. It's like one of those. She's one of those fighters that if you were to stand in front of her, all she would do is a wing and a prayer that you will catch her with one of her wild shots. But Katie Taylor, I'm hoping, isn't that daft. She just doesn't need to spend that much time in the pocket. Katie Taylor on the outside wins this fight comfortably, hands down.
No, I totally agree, mate. And that's what we're doing. I mean, Carabajal, she's just 15 seconds into this sixth round. She's just come out and tried to show a little bit of ambition and back Katie Taylor up, hasn't she?
But that's what she does. She just runs in a straight line at Katie Taylor, and it's just far too basic. You need a bit more. You need a bit more subtle. You need a bit more suave. You need to be a bit more sophisticated when you're fighting someone like Katie Taylor, because she's so intelligent in the ring. She reads those rhythms really well. She just takes a look at your feet, and she kind of knows what you're going to throw next or do next. And because it's so telegraphed from Carabajal, she's getting countered. Then that's what Katie Taylor's doing, and then she's circling the ring. buying her time, and Carabajal's a mountain and a mile behind.
No, 100%. I mean, the stats there. Katie Taylor's thrown 97 punches, landed 36 of them. Carabajal has thrown 123 and landed 31 of them, I think it said. So, I mean, the accuracy's there from Katie Taylor, you know, as we would expect, the classier work, the accuracy, the shot selection. I mean, this is nice. We're starting to see the in and out movement, aren't we?
Yeah.
And the flurry of punches come.
Yes.
I think this is going to turn into a classy Katie Taylor performance, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know, and I kind of said that from the first round. It looked as though it was vintage Katie Taylor stuff. The way she was getting in and out of range, throwing a couple of combinations, and then she started to throw the single shots, but the single shots were still doing the damage. And now she's been a little bit cheeky, Katie. She's throwing that lead right hand, but the lead right hand's landing. You know, you're in trouble when your opponent's landing a lead right hand from the orthodox position when you're as far as what Katie Taylor is. It just kind of sums up how slow Carabajal is. But having said that, though, this is what you want from Katie Taylor. We're not wanting her to take punishment. She sees longevity in her career. I don't agree with her, but on this performance, why not? She's not taking anything, and this is how you should be treating your mandatory challengers.
No, totally agree. I mean, I'm glad she's put in this performance because I said it in our preview. That was my one worry after that history-making event with Amanda Serrano. Was she going to be able to sort of drag herself up for this one? Brian's back. Brian, thanks for your comment, mate. She's far from past it, brother. If she fought like this against Serrano, she would have run every round instead of standing there brawling. Different class Katie is. I mean,
I hope you're right, Brian. I really do. You know, I really hope that you're right. You know, I've got my own opinion. I think that she kind of is on that decline. But I agree with you, and that's the point I was making earlier. Katie Taylor's problem is 4 or 5 years ago, or maybe 3 years ago, when she was throwing 4s and 5s. You know, she was getting out of range. Now she's just planting her feet, and she gets caught square on, and she gets caught standing in a pocket a little bit too long, and that's where an opponents are having success against her. And even if she does that against this last year, it's not good for her. But you're right, when Katie Taylor's on the back foot, when she's in and out of range, she does look a class above her opponents.
She does. I'm with you, Brian. I think she's got a bit more left, although I do think she's on a slow but steady decline. She's different class, you're not wrong. But I think it's also worth saying that with respect to Carabajal, she's no Amanda Serrano either. So Taylor putting on a performance like this against Carabajal is different to doing it against Amanda Serrano. I think that's fair to say. Because Serrano, you know, 7-weight world champion, she's a class act. And in fairness, Carabajal, I mean, I respect that she's trying, she's throwing. You know, she's definitely not come to just get blown over and leave with a paycheck. But by the same token, she's slow, cumbersome. She's doing her best, but you can just see she's just not on Katie Taylor's level. But as I said, credit to Katie Taylor for actually stepping up and getting herself up for this fight and putting on the performance.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just admiring really the way Katie Taylor's just tying her up when she needs to. Again, she's just keeping that distance, but she's got eyes on her all the time. She's got that eyes towards her chest, towards her shoulders, keeping her eyes on her opponent's feet. She knows what her opponent's going to throw pretty much before Carabajal does, and that just shows you about the ring IQ of Katie Taylor. And that's certainly not left. We're talking about Kiko Martinez and how his power is the last thing to go for him. For Katie Taylor, it's going to have to be the ring IQ, which is, you don't often say that about fighters, but she's just so smart in that ring, and it's coming to light here. Great to see.
No, that was a lovely left hand she landed as well there, wasn't it, towards the end of that round?
I'd be surprised if anyone's given this Carabajal a round. I really would be. You know,
yeah,
just been a clean sweep by Katie Taylor. Again, she's standing up.
No, 100%. And, you know, at this point of the fight, impressive that she's not sitting down. Another new name, SHD R&M. Katie Taylor is going to win, no doubt, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm with you, mate. I mean, she's won every round for me convincingly, barring any freak shot or something coming off like that. Yeah, she's got this comfortably. I mean, Ray, if you were Katie Taylor, again, not known for her stoppages, we've covered that. But would you be pushing for the stoppage, or would you just coast now to a?
No. I'd just be. I mean, don't if it was in Croke Park and Ireland, yes. Here, no. Just see it out. You're winning so comfortably. Just see it out. It's not as if she's known for the stoppages anyway. Opponents from Argentina we can sort of say she looks a tough girl, to be honest. But then again, most Katie Taylor opponents at this level are. And for me, it's a convincing points win where there's a strong argument watching that she doesn't look as though, like what I was saying, that she is on the decline. It depends on how much you've seen from Katie Taylor, but you could argue that's a throwback to Katie Taylor of old, such as a
100%.
performance as being that good. So yeah, for me, get the full 10 rounds in.
100%. The 102 people now, guys. That's our best ever in a live. So thank you for joining us. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. As I say, we're doing this live watch along. We're looking to do more of these, but we have content coming out daily. Brian's back, Ray. How did you score the Serrano fight? Personally, I had Katie Taylor by 2 rounds.
Yeah. 2 rounds for me. Yeah.
Yeah, how did you score it, Brian? Just sort of interested to know as a fellow Katie Taylor fan, because I think it was hard. I think a couple of the earlier rounds you could have sort of gone either way. And I've watched that fight twice, and once I gave it 1 round to Taylor, but on the night I had it by 2 rounds to Taylor. So I'd be interested to know how you had it. But I definitely thought she won it in fairness and would love to see that rematch.
It looks as though we probably will get that, to be honest. I know Jake Paul keeps saying Amanda Serrano doesn't want to go back up to that weight, but I think the money might be too much on offer. But again, another clear round for Katie Taylor. She's standing up again there, Josh. You could argue, I don't even think she's got a second gear, to be honest.
She's not needed
to step up.
No, and I think, in fairness, at this point now, if you're Carabajal at the end of 8 rounds, you've not won a round. Katie Taylor's standing up. I mean, she's breathing, of course she is, but she's definitely not. She's not blowing out her arse. She's not.
Of course she's breathing.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. She's not blowing hard. She's not.
Yeah,
she's not knackered. But like I said, it's not as if she's got Amanda Serrano or Jessica McCaskill in front of her. Even the Chantel Cameron. And that's no disrespect to Carabajal, but that just shows you that there's, like Brian said before in the chat, I think there's levels to this. And like I said, as long as she stays clear and doesn't take too many of those wild right hands flush on the chin, she'll be all right.
No, 100%. I mean, this is a daunting 4-minute task now, isn't it, for Carabajal at this point? You've lost the fight.
Yeah.
Taylor's not, as we said, not really got out of second gear. And she's standing up in between rounds. I mean, fair play to her. I think, not that she's particularly marked up herself. She's just getting beaten to the punch consistently. I mean, latest accuracy stats, Taylor's thrown 216, landed 73. Carabajal, she's been throwing consistently. She's thrown 342, but only landed 58. So Taylor's literally landing double the percentage of shots that Carabajal is. And I think that sometimes those accuracy stats and throwing stats don't actually
reflect the fight.
Yeah, they don't reflect a fight. But I think that tonight sums it up perfectly, Ray.
Yeah, it does. This time around, it accurately reflects the fight. I'm just looking there, the way Katie Taylor's landing that lead right hand to the body. I talked about the lead right hand. Floyd Mayweather, for me, was the best in the last 20 years of landing that lead right hand. If you're landing that from quite a way out in an orthodox position, you're really quick or your opponent's really slow, but she just can't move out of Katie Taylor's punches. And Katie Taylor's, again, just that subtle movement of shifting the upper body 6 inches to the left and landing the left hook to the body. All that ring IQ is still there. Her legs might be getting a little bit tired and not as springy as they were from years gone by. But I tell you what, her brain's still sharp, and you can see it in the ring. Where she would have probably moved her whole body or moved her feet. She's just things like Canelo does, that subtle shift of your upper body 6 inches to the left or a few inches to that's what boxing can be about, just a sport of inches. And Katie Taylor's just using it wonderfully tonight. Really is. She's cut her opponent now just above her right eye, and she's having fun in there, Katie Taylor.
She is. Brian's back 7-3. He had it. Serrano next in Croke Park. Hopefully, love the channel, lads. Cheers. No, thank you, Brian. It's great to have you on, mate. As I say, we have boxing content coming pretty much every day. We do a live every Monday at 8:45 p.m. UK time. Be great to see a few more of you join us there. Davey's done it, Ray. What a boy. Well, firstly, he's not been scoring, he's just been enjoying the fight. Katie will be enjoying an easy night compared to the last fight. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
And then he's also at Brian Hogan. Join us every Monday, bro. I'm always on a great boxing chat with some laughs along the way. He's not wrong either.
No, he brings the banter, he brings the knowledge, and he brings the comedy, Davey. Yeah, he's a top lad.
Some fantastic ideas for some private car edges as well.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Final round. Again,
they're both going for it.
Yeah, Carabajal starts fast, doesn't she? But Katie Taylor then takes over, and it's only for 10 seconds, and she's reading her well, just using that back foot just to. She knows where the ropes are, and she's just edging forward a little bit, and then she goes back to the ropes when she's landed her shot. It's all clever stuff there from Katie Taylor, all basic stuff that she does really, really well. Again, she's done another lead right hand, and our opponent misses wildly. Miles out of range. A couple of these shots she's throwing, they're coming from so wide, you worry almost about her dislocating a shoulder, don't you, Carabajal? Yeah, or spinning around and knocking herself out. Basically, she's got no balance really.
No, the ref needs to watch he doesn't cop for one here.
Yeah, but Katie Taylor's landing at will. She's tying her up. She just needs to see out the remaining 45 seconds or whatever's left.
100%. Brian will be there with us on Monday, Ray. Guys, there's 91 of you now. It'd be great to see a few more of you on there. Hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. Definitely a busy next 48 hours. A couple of reaction videos coming with the fights that'll be happening through the night. And then
body shot. Nice body shot there by Katie Taylor there, Josh. Sorry to cut you off there, mate.
No.
Yeah, Katie Taylor's just picking it there. Obviously, she knows she's won, but she's still laser focused. She's still landing the shots. No show button, professional, getting that job done. Just landing a nice left hook there.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah. Keeping that distance again.
But it's good as well. Perfect. Yeah. Clean sweep of rounds. 105 people now, guys. Stick around. We'll get the official result, although Katie Taylor will have won. She's won every round there for me quite convincingly.
Yeah.
But we will be sticking around and doing a reaction to it. So, guys, we want your thoughts on this fight and the card as a whole. It's been a brilliant night's boxing for me. And I think, it's fair to say Matchroom needed, Eddie Hearn needed after the last few weeks on all the bad publicity. But a great night's boxing. We've seen early stoppages for Gary Cully and the Romford Bull, who I'm a massive fan of, for those of you that didn't know. A slick boxing performance from Ellie Scottney. A shock to some. Kiko Martinez stopping Jordan Gill in the fourth round of their fight. We have Mickey Ellison beating Thomas Whitaker Hart for the light heavyweight central area title. Then we saw friend of the channel, Jordan Reynolds. He came back to the ring after a little bit of a stretch out, and he's back to winning. Well, not back to winning ways, but he's gotten back with a win, I should have said. Sorry, guys. More to come. I mean, the winners of tonight have set themselves up for a big fight next, all of them pretty much, haven't they, Ray?
Yeah, for the likes of obviously Kiko Martinez. You could put Gary Cully in that mix because people don't want to see him again, and don't want to see him with a bigger sort of name. Katie Taylor's next fight, we think it's going to be in Ireland. That's got to be a big fight. We just see a mom getting into the ring as she usually does. But yeah, big fights for the winners of tonight's card.
Another new name, Jaden Nicklin. The fight is going very well if you're a Katie Taylor fan, mate. It's just finished. We're waiting for the official announcement, but Katie Taylor, I think, she won every round. Vintage Katie Taylor performance, really. She started, throwing single shots as the fight wore on. We saw some punches in bunches that she's known for. Classy footwork, classy performance. And throwing the lead right hand beautifully. Really good performance from Katie Taylor, but I still think it's worth mentioning, with all due respect to her opponent, Karen Carabajal, quite limited in what she was really bringing back the other way. She threw over 400 punches, no doubt, as the fight finished, but little success, Ray.
Yeah, she was a very limited fighter, wasn't she? But Katie Taylor still had a job to do, and to get her out of there.
Jaden's back, unreal. Love Katie Taylor. Missed the fight due to a night shift. Gutted, mate. But for you and for everybody else, we've had a great viewing numbers tonight. Over 100 people at different points. That is what we're doing this live watch along for. So plenty of boxing content coming, Jaden. As I say, almost daily. We do a live every Monday at 8:45, which Davey, a regular on the channel, has been so kind enough to tell everybody to click the bell on the all and you'll be notified before the live. And he's also pointed out he's on tech support tonight, Davey. Jaden, if you've got the DAZN app, you'll be able to get the replay. I think it's pretty much almost instant as well, in fairness.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So you'll get all the fights. You'll get all the fights. You can even, I think, if you're watching it on a desktop, on a laptop, you can pick and choose which fights you want to watch back.
There's no end of Davy's talent tonight. It's like he's our manager, Ray. He's getting people.
You'd be wanting a cut, you'd be getting the 5%.
Oh, hang on. Slow down. We'll send him a T-shirt.
Yeah. But I'm just looking at Katie Taylor getting that belt there. Well deserved, cracking performance. We've got to be balanced on the channel like we always are, Josh. I mean, we're kind of saying she's on a decline. She's winning, but she's fading a bit. But it didn't look that way tonight. Albeit the opponent wasn't of the standard of her last few opponents. But having said that, she still did what she had to do. Great performance by Katie Taylor. Really, really good performance.
No, fantastic. Jaden's back, just subbed. There, put the notes on, mate. I'll be sure to pop in the next stream. Fantastic, mate. Looking forward to it. Hopefully it'll be a good one. There's a lot to cover. We've got more videos coming tomorrow as well with reactions to different fights that are happening across the weekend. But yes, 8:45 Monday, we do our weekly live where, I mean, to be fair, sometimes it does descend just into chaos, but it's some good boxing chat, so it'll be a pleasure to have you there, mate. I mean, Ray, I suppose we'll start shifting towards a reaction to all of this. Katie Taylor now, obviously she's retained her undisputed titles. Another mandatory ticked off, shall we say. It's got to be Amanda Serrano next, hasn't it?
I would hope so. I mean, look, there's still talk of Holly Holm. There's still talk of that Cyborg. I think Clarissa Shields is unrealistic and isn't a fight I would want to see. I keep talking about the winner of McCaskill, Cameron, because I think that'll be an interesting fight for her. Like I said, these ladies can jump multiple classes and come down multiple classes. But Katie Taylor's really in the driving seat, and if she wants this fight to be an island next, she should really go for the fight that's going to bring in the most revenue and most money. No,
100%. You need a dance partner, don't you? Especially to start selling stadiums out. Brian's back. On the ball, bud. Like and subscribe. The bell is on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, pal.
Looking forward to having you there. Richard Philpott, who's next for Katie? Hopefully, I mean, she's talking now. I think they're going to be pushing hard for that Amanda Serrano fight, aren't they? They're going to be wanting to sell Croke Park out, and for that, they're going to need a dance partner. He's also commented, Richard, walk in the park for Katie. Alfred Reed. Alfred, pleasure to have you on with us, mate. Hope you've enjoyed the fight. And, yeah, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We need her in Croke Park. I totally agree. I think that she needs that as well. She's talked about going a few more years. Personally, if she can get Serrano in Croke Park and win, I'd like to see her finish there. I think that would be the perfect storybook ending. Boxing Historian's back. Legend, bro. It's my favourite channel. Great interaction with the comments by the lads. Stop it, Davey. I think
Thanks very much, mate. Kind words, kind words.
He wants a hoodie to match his t-shirt, Ray. That's what it is. And flattery will get you everywhere, Davey. Richard's back, round 6, slight aberration. Jack's back. The Cameron fight would be great for women's boxing, I think. I totally agree. Ray mentioned it earlier, and I'm a fan of that fight, particularly if Chantel Cameron can beat Jessica McCaskill next weekend. I think then it would just be brilliant, wouldn't it? And let's be fair, Taylor's already held a title at 140, but if she could go back up and that chance to become a 2-weight undisputed champion with potentially winning that fight, I think she'd. That's the sort of thing that would get her going, wouldn't it, in terms of motivation?
Yeah. I mean, you know, there's like I said, there's some big names out there for her. You know, I mean, no wonder your glasses are steaming up, mate, because you know you've got names like Holly Holm, who's a big name in the States. McCaskill, she's undisputed. She lost to Taylor. Taylor beat her quite comfortably, but she's looking good now. McCaskill, they call her McCaskiller. Cameron is a very, very good operator, very shrewd operator. Don't forget, she's a unified champion at 140. I think McCaskill will beat her. I'm pretty confident McCaskill beats her, but Cameron's still a handful. You know, I wouldn't say it's an easy fight for, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if Cameron did a number on her, on Katie Taylor. Cameron's really, really aggressive, throws a lot of shots, wouldn't give Katie Taylor a moment to breathe. So there are some names out there, and like I said, for me, it should be about money, because I don't think, and there's lots of reasons to say this. Obviously, women's boxers aren't going to get paid what the men at the top end are going to get. Women's boxers at the top end, they're not, and that's just the way it is for so many different reasons. But if you're Katie Taylor, you're going to want to be well paid, because, you know, who's going to look after when she's finished boxing? So for me, she should focus on taking the best well-paid fight that she can get, and if that's the Serrano fight in Ireland, so be it.
No, 100%. We've had some comments in. Jack's back at this time. He thinks Cameron would beat Katie Taylor. It's a tough fight, and I don't think anybody could sort of argue too much. And used to spar, Cameron. Jack, I'd love to know some sparring stories if you've got some, mate. In fact, that could even be potentially, if you would join us back for another video, that would be a video. Guys, if you don't know Jack, Let the Punk Talk is Jack Hughes, Southern Area champion, recently retired, but has gone out with a great ending, winning Fight of the Year for his Southern Area title win. And he's a regular friend of the channel, so been great to have you on with us tonight, Jack. SHD R&M's back. I think Katie needs to go for harder opponents, kind of like her last few fights, but maybe harder. Yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? It's tough when you've got that constant run of mandatories that come, obviously, with holding the 4 belts. But definitely for me, it's legacy time, and that's what she wants. Davey's back. Let's get the 70 likes troop. That's my hat earned. No, Davey, it's 100 likes for a hat. We're not.
He's almost there. He's almost there.
Almost there. Richard Philpott back. That wraps up 2022 for Katie. She's the real deal. Yes, she is 100%. I mean, tonight was a great performance against somewhat limited opposition, but you can't take anything away. She's done what she's got to do.
She looked class. She looked class. Let's get that right.
Great show. Cheers, Richard. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Dre Day back. We've seen you in there before, mate. Appreciate you joining us again. Loving your show here in America. Your opinion on Serrano McCaskill. Wouldn't that be such a fun fight? Ray, I'll let you handle that.
Yeah, it would. I mean, I think McCaskill will be far too big. We saw the advantages Katie Taylor had towards the end of the fight. She was just physically a little bit too much for Serrano. Jessica McCaskiller, she's fully grown into the welterweight division. And I think she would just be too big for Serrano. Skill level, it would be a fascinating matchup for the early part, but then McCaskill's size and strength and power would just take over, and she would end up mauling Serrano. That's how I see that fight going.
Yeah, no arguments from me, mate. I totally agree. I think especially it would be at some form of catch weight, obviously, and yeah, McCaskill just too
You've
big.
got to remember McCaskill, our fighting weight is 21 pounds heavier than Serrano. That's not including rehydration. So yeah, we would have to be sensible about what weight that was to take place. But that's how I see that fight going anyway. That's my opinion.
Jack's back, perfect, Jack. I'll slip you a message, mate, and we'll get something sorted, no doubt. Here we go. Well, SHDRNM's back. What do we think of the fights today? I mean, I'll go first. Me personally was massively excited for the Romford Bull and for Ellie Scottney. I've took a bit of stick, to be honest, mate, this week off my fellow co-hosts in Ray and Yass, who's normally with us, and they're both out of order. We saw a brilliant stoppage from Johnny Fisher early as well, first round. And don't get me wrong, I'm not going to get carried away. He's 7-0 with the 6 stoppages now, but against somewhat limited opposition. But they are winning records now. But I just think, he needs at least another 10 of those sort of fights because he's learning on the job with a limited amateur career. But love his character, love his social media presence. I'm excited about him. Ellie Scottney, we saw a really slick performance. For me, her best performance to date, that wins the European title and really sets her up for a world title shot. She's in a great camp with Shane McGuigan. And we should actually say also, Ray, just thinking about, shout out to Shane McGuigan because, we've talked a bit about his stable this year and he's probably one of the best trainers and best stables in the UK at the minute. But that's another now European champion in the group. So hats off to him and Josh Pritchard. What they're doing is absolutely brilliant. And then Gary Cully, a 28-second first-round stoppage win, really announced himself to a wider audience, if you like, in terms of his matchroom debut. So really exciting. Was shocked at the Kiko Martinez win. Personally, I thought Jordan Gill would have enough about him to box his way to a decision. Not everybody felt like that, but Kiko rolls on at 36, doesn't he? So, a good one. Ray, anything to add on that?
No, I was just about to say it's been one of those performances on cards where you're looking back and you're thinking, actually, this could be the emergence of a couple of stars, Gary Cully and Ellie Scottney. So you've got that. You've got the build up for a potential really big fight for next year over in Ireland with Katie Taylor. The delay of Kiko Martinez in terms of we thought tonight he would be finished, but he lives and fights for another day. So he's another name in that really interesting, fascinating featherweight division. So there's been a couple of stories to come out of tonight's card, and that's always a sign that you've had a really good card when you've got a few things to talk about, stuff like that for the future.
No, 100%. We've seen it all. Richard Philpott back. Katie must be favourite sports personality of the year. She's got to be in with a shout what she's done this year. And what if there's some sort of award for women's boxing of a whole? She's got to be in there for me. Jay Darton, a new name. Thanks for joining us, Jay. Appreciate the comment. Taylor lost to Amanda Serrano. Personally, for me, she didn't. I had her by 2 rounds. I know Ray agrees with that. But it was a close fight, and that's why we want to see the rematch, isn't it? If it's at Croke Park next year, bring it on. That is what we want to see. Yass has put a great comment here. I mean, assume you're not joining us, Yass. Cheers, mate. Love you too. Fight of the night for today. For
what
me,
you say, Josh?
Yeah, tough. For me, I'm going to go Ellie Scottney, just because we've accused her of getting involved in a tear-up a little bit too much. But tonight, to be fair to her, she boxed more, she controlled it. Her engine was fantastic. Shot variety was all there good. So I'll give it Ellie Scottney. What about you?
I'm going to go for Kiko Martinez and Jordan Gill. Just summed up everything I love about boxing. Jordan Gill was winning the first round comfortably. The second round he won, but it wasn't so comfortable. It was slightly closer. The third round, Kiko completely turned it in his favour just by doing the basics of being a come-forward fighter. And it showed me, and it showed most people like Poff and Jack, who call it that he isn't finished in his life and the old dog left. And he lives to fight another day and another big fight. And that for me was really entertaining. I think there was 4 knockdowns, if I remember rightly, in that fight. So that had everything, that fight.
No, 100%. And Davey agrees with you because it was unexpected and Taylor had a great performance. Yes, she did. John Donegan, yes, Katie Taylor did win. We've also had the same question off Choppy Gold. Guys, both of you, thank you for your comments. Appreciate that. Hit that like and subscribe buttons as well, please, guys. Content coming almost daily. But yeah, tonight, Katie Taylor, wide points win. She won every round. You just couldn't argue with. It was just a clear, classy performance. Great footwork, shot variety, used the lead right hand beautifully. She did everything she had to do, but the opposition, it wasn't fantastic in all fairness. Yas is back just as we wind down here, guys. Katie Taylor's confirmed she wants to fight in Ireland next. Yeah, I mean, it's good to see. She has talked about that a lot in Fight Week, in fairness, but let's hope Eddie Hearn can get that moving. I mean, I'm going to wrap it up there. Ray, have you got any sort of last words you want to say to everyone?
It was a terrific card and terrific night of boxing. I just want to thank all you guys for joining us in the chat and joining us on this live stream.
No, 100%. I'm exactly the same. Thank you all for joining us. It'd be great to see some of you with us. We've got some content coming tomorrow with reactions to the fights overnight. We're live at 8:45 on Monday evening for our weekly live. So, yeah, smash that subscribe button and we'll see you soon.